Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. Lone Wolf Paintball is an online supplier that has been around for a very long time. They've actually been Michigan's premier paintball field and supplier since 1987. Now expanding into the online retail store, they are really trying to do their best to supply everything you need to the paintball community. They have it all. You get over to lonewolfpaintball.com. If you want Field 1, HK, GI, Dye, it doesn't matter. They got it. You can surf the website. You can check it out. They have what you need, guaranteed. And they also boast excellent customer service and same-day shipping. That's pretty badass. You could go to the website, order something, and it's going to be sent out that day. That's fantastic. That's amazing customer service. So again, guys, if you would like, you could head over to lonewolfpaintball.com. You could also check them out on YouTube and Instagram. Their Instagram is Lone Wolf PB, and their YouTube is Lone Wolf Paintball. And you can see and keep up to date with all their latest deals, their sales, their content. It's a lot of really fun stuff. Play the Game Podcast is excited to have them on board, and you guys should head over and become part of the community. All right. This episode is brought to you by G2 Paintball. G2 Paintball is back, and you guys should be incredibly excited. If you are in the area, in Arizona or anywhere on the West Coast, you want to make sure you do not miss this. Being in paintball shape is one of the most important things to being a top-level player. Not just a top-level pro, but a top-level player in any division. If you are trying to win tournaments, you want to be in the best physical condition possible. Paintball is so physically demanding. It requires so much of your physical ability, and G2 Paintball is designed to help you maximize that potential both on and off the field. G2 Paintball played a huge role in our World Cup win. It pays dividends to get out there and do these exercises, do these kinds of training. It is so difficult. It is very tough, but it is going to put you in position to win events, and that's what we're here to do. I teach this at all of my clinics. I always preach the importance of physical fitness in paintball ability. You can get all the way to the finals, but if you are only at 60% and a less talented, less skilled, less experienced team is at 90 or 100%, they are likely going to beat you. Do not let your physical ability be the reason you guys are not winning events. Get signed up for G2. If you guys are in the area, make sure you get active, get involved. It is owned and operated by Victor Gamboa and Rusty Glaze. You have players like Tyler Harmon, myself, Ryan Greenspan, all part of the entire G2 program. You guys can stay up to date with everything at g2paintball.com, and we hope to see you at an event very soon. This episode is brought to you by Transfuse. Transfuse is the only all-natural electrolyte drink that you guys need to have in your cabinets. We love this stuff. We've been using this for an entire season now. This stuff is amazing. I feel great when I drink Transfuse. I drink it every single day. I don't go a day without putting a packet of Transfuse in my water. It's very easy, very portable, easy to travel with, and delicious to drink, which means that you're going to love drinking it and you're going to drink more of it, which is going to be incredibly beneficial to your health. Has magnesium, potassium, sodium, which are all amazing for proper hydration. It has zinc, vitamin C, vitamin B, and choline. These things are incredible cognitive enhancers and immune boosting formulas that you don't want to miss out on, especially in times like this. I'm telling you, I drink Transfuse every single day. I love it. Tyler does as well. Anybody who has tried it has been just pouring with great feedback back to us. There's a reason that they're at all the NXL events, and a lot of the top teams and top professionals are using this product. Do not walk around dehydrated. I never realized how dehydrated I was, even when I was drinking all sorts of water. It's not enough. You need the proper nutrition. You need the right ingredients. Transfuse has done a great job of curating the perfect formula. Transfuse is absolutely spectacular, and for all of our listeners, there is a special deal for any Play the Game listener. If you head over to translabs.com, that's tranzlabs.com, and use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you will get 10% off. If you subscribe, which means they auto ship you your package every single month, whatever you want, whatever type, whatever flavor, whatever electrolyte formula you desire, they will give you an additional 11% off. So it becomes a 21% discount exclusively for all Play the Game listeners. Huge shout out, and we are incredibly thankful for our supporters. And if you guys would like to go support them, it's translabs.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME. What's going on, PTG fam? Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode, we have none other than Colt 45, Colt Roberts of San Antonio X Factor. Colt has been a dominator in the professional league for so long. he brings a tremendous value to any team he plays on. And him and X Factor have been on a serious run in the pro division. They've been so consistent, super dynamic, one of the most fun teams to watch and follow. So getting to sit down with Colt and talk about his paintball life and all the things that he is interested in was really cool, really fun. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show. See you in there.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ryan Brand, coach of San Antonio X Factor, on the show for you all. And he's one of the best coaches of all time, in my opinion. The dude has done so much in the game, and we're honored to have him on the show to pick his brain and kind of get insights into the coaching world in pro paintball. Rye, how you doing?
Doing good. Appreciate the kind words there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean it. You've earned that accolade because it's true. And I mean, obviously, because you're nominated for Coach of the Year,
exactly,
as an iconic award for this year. So rightfully so, man. You've worked your butt off to be in that position, and you're a longtime, family member of X Factor. You played for the team, so it's full circle for you being able to be a part of that family for so long and get all of these accolades with your brothers. It's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, absolutely has. But I don't know if I think Skinny Kevin's going to take this one. I think he deserves it. But
yeah,
it's one of those things, man. He's been great, man. I really have a lot of respect for the dude.
Absolutely. Yeah. SK's, we actually just had him on the show. He's a legend as well, and it was cool. World news, obviously, everybody saw Dynasty is with JT, and they just rolled out the video on HK and Dynasty and all over the place, and on JT rather, not HK.
Yeah, well, we did a formal, I guess, parting of the ways with HK yesterday, and then today everything rolled out with JT and Dynasty. Mm-hmm. So pretty exciting stuff. I mean, the team started and built its reputation with JT in the early 2000s. Everyone remembers those iconic years, and that's what video that was put together with all the old school, footage
SK.
of Oliver Lamb.
SK in there.
Yeah, 100%. Wearing the Pro Flexes, all the JT gear. So it's exciting. It's cool. It's definitely a cool change. I don't think anyone really saw that coming. So it's spicy, and keep the train going.
Dude, we're gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you at the HK booth and stuff. Like, it's man. Yeah,
I know, man. I know. The HK guys and I, way beyond my time on Dynasty, I've been friends with those guys for most of my career. Brandon Fort has been one of my personal sponsors on, a bunch of different teams that I was on. And throughout, it kind of similar with you, Tyler, right? Like before Dynasty, you still had the same relationship with those guys. And I'm always going to be appreciative of everything they've done. And I'm going to miss them too. I was talking to Jay, Marky, and Brandon all yesterday. And it's, those are truly my friends. And I hope those friendships don't get tarnished or, diminish in any capacity, because again, they're just people that I appreciate, always will. So, it's just sometimes it's time for things to go in new directions, and have some kind of change. So we'll see. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exciting stuff.
It is. It's exciting. And the news just broke. So the internet is going bonkers right now. I'm sure your phone is blowing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody was trying to speculate, what was going to happen, what was going on. And it's funny, yesterday, so by the time people listen to this show, the news will already have been released the day before. This will be released on Friday. Obviously, the news got broke on Thursday, but everybody was messaging me like, hey, congrats on JT before it was even released. And I'm like, I can't read that message. I can't read this message. I can't read that message yet, because you're going to see I read it and then I have to respond. Like, I don't know what to say. Just be patient. I don't know how everyone finds stuff out. People just find shit out. There's people leak shit left and right.
Yeah, dude, loose lips everywhere.
Loose lips, dude. Yeah. But anyway, look, this show isn't about Dynasty and all that. Ryan, welcome back to PTG, man. I know Tyler and I are really excited to have you back on. We've had a few of the guests on past their first time. And honestly, it's my favorite part because we really get to sit down and talk about current events and, a lot of the popular stuff that's going on. So welcome back to PTG, dude. Thank you so much. And if you don't mind me sharing, something I really admire about you was after our episode with Brandon Cornell, you reached out to me like, hey, there was stuff about that finals match that I would love to, sit down and talk with you guys about. And from your first show, that was one of my favorite things about you is how honest you are about how to get better, how to be better, how to be the best version of yourself. Right. And that takes a lot of maturity. That takes, lack of ego. It's something that you don't find often these days, and I think that's like what Tyler said. I think that's what has made you one of the best coaches in the game. I have similar respect as Tyler does for you. So I'm excited, man, to sit down and talk with you and hang out. But again, welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Give him the horns. What kind of audio we got?
Where's the horns? What do we got? I got this.
Yeah.
We got this. We need to upgrade this. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna upgrade our soundboard for sure. We haven't used them in a while. I forgot
that
what
thing looks like a spaceship. It's got
that one.
Yeah. No, that thing looks like a spaceship, dude.
It does. We need to figure out what kind of sounds we want on here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
dude.
that's
congratulations.
Nice.
That is nice. That's a good one. Congrats again on the iconic award nomination. I'm just going to go down the list. You got you, Rye from X Factor, Kevin, Dynasty, Travis Lemansky, Infamous, Todd Martinez from Heat, Mike Hinman from Aftermath. So that company right there is just some of the greatest company that'll ever, see paintball. And to be able to be a part of that group is pretty tremendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy job. And there's only, so many people that do it and have done it well. Yeah. And all those guys on the list, those are some of the best to ever do it. And it's just, it's an honor, it really is.
Truly. Yeah, man. And you guys killed it. I know you didn't get the results you wanted at World Cup, but you guys, you beat Heat, you beat us, and you guys played really, really top level paintball. So, I think the numbers are 7 out of 10 World Cups that you guys have podiumed in, which is pretty insane when you think about that. To 70% of the time, you guys are going to be in the top 3. That's crazy out of 10 years, which is pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, it is an interesting stat, and obviously I don't know the numbers anybody else. It's potentially maybe the most podiums in the past 10 years. I would probably say it probably is, just because it's hard to be that consistent. But only one of 7 are wins, right? So I think that's at the end of the day you want those W's, and so come up short, and so it's one of those things that we got a little bit more work to do there.
Yeah. Shoot, dude, that's in the world. We're talking about the whole entire world. You know what I mean? So just being in that vicinity is where you want to be. Obviously, we want chips, we want rings, we want all that. We want the big trophies. But there's something to be said about the journey and what it's done for you guys. I'm sure as a collective and as a family, through those losses, it almost makes you stronger, and it keeps pushing you guys on. And I know we're going to continue to see X Factor in the top 3, pushing the boundaries on paintball. So that's where you want to be, man.
Ryan, what do you think it is about the coaches that are selected in those iconic nominations for Coach of the Year? What do you think it is about each of them that makes them so good at what they do?
Okay. I think similar to players, experience is a huge one. It just really is. A lot of these guys, I my first season or couple seasons of coaching, I would, there's a lot of things I just wasn't that good at, and I had to get better and had to learn through losing and learn through making mistakes, just like players. And you kind of just get more and more of those losses add up to knowledge, and then you get there. And you look at a lot of those guys there, they're all players. Many of them were better players than myself. You got Todd in there, just an absolute top player. Hinman's a strong player. SK during the 10-man days, that kind of stuff. Like, he was just a really intelligent, smart player.
Well, you are too. You're a beast on the field. I've seen you play, bro. Don't act like you don't know how to play.
You've been winning 10-man events all year, bro.
Yeah, bro. We see you.
So I'm hiding, but it's one of those things. So there's knowledge on the field. And I think you need that a little bit to be able to look at it through that lens. And it's not mandatory, but it is something that you have that lens as a player or an ex-player, and it gives you a little bit of edge. You've been there. And then after that, everyone's got their own little style in that group. Hinman is very, polarizing to maybe myself as far as our style and coaching. But the results, Hinman's a legend. And what he's done better than anybody else, he's taken players and made them better. He's gotten to take guys and mold them through his harshness, his direct criticism. And is one of those things, he will chew you up and he'll either spit you out or make you better. It's just, that's how Mike operates. And so he took a team, and I knew Aftermath would be pretty good this season. A lot of people compare it that, he took him from like a almost last place team to now a top 10 team. And if you look at his roster, those guys, a lot of it's like 2018 DMG. It was already an every other tournament Sunday team. But what he did with them is he took a lot of pieces, and it's difficult. It's difficult to make Sundays. It really is. And he got them there, brought them that squad together, and they're getting better. So I think, coach of the year, go ahead, Marcel.
What's weird about the Mike thing is he's not Aftermath's coach. Jerry is, but he's still perceived as that because he is responsible for the mentality and the culture of the team. Right. Which, we talk about a lot. The culture of a team is one of the most important things, in my opinion, of a team's success. But he's not in the pit with the X's and O's doing the day-to-day coach stuff. That's Jerry. And shout out to Jerry. I think he's done excellent. I know he worked with your organization. You guys know Jerry as well. But he's still nominated for that. So I'm kind of conflicted on if you can win that. But I know that the reason he's nominated for it is because, again, him being involved in cultivating the talent and kind of hand selecting the team that he brought together to bring from, essentially a last place team last year to what they did this year. That is because of Mike, even though he's not technically their head coach, I don't know how they define it. Maybe he's the head coach and Jerry's the assistant coach, but he calls the plays in the pit. But it's the culture that Mike brings that is so unique. That is like you said, it's either going to make you or break you, but it has made some of the best players for sure. Like people that come out of that camp, if you know what you're getting yourself into to go into that camp and you can get through it, you're going to come out a dope ass player, period. And he's doing that right now with, a lot of it's the old DMG guys, but they've fully bought in,
Oh yeah.
They've fully bought in. They're about that life. But yeah, I that is kind of a weird, I think I even had messaged Quinn. I'm like, hey, actually, yeah, that is kind of funny. I wonder if, because he's not technically the coach. I don't know. How do we feel about that?
It's interesting. I feel like Jerry should get a little assist nod on there for sure.
Right. Totally.
When in 2013, I was nominated for coach of the year. But I had Paul Richards, me and him were sharing it that year, and we got nominated together. And I feel like maybe it should be a little bit the same. And especially because Mike wasn't at World Cup. Jerry ran that show. And I know Mike was sending him feedback and texting him. I know Jerry even told me like during overtime, Mike's sending him texts of like who to play and stuff like that. He's having his input. Jerry, he shouldered that at World Cup, and I thought they had a really good event. They were overtime away from going deep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Mike is the eye in the sky for sure. He's always making sure that things are dialed in because he's a perfectionist too. The dude knows exactly what it takes to win. Yeah. He's been a part of those programs and even like, Marsh, we've been able to train under Mike and see how he does stuff. And it's cut and dry, get the results. That's really what it comes down to is like, and it's not even like so constructed to where there's parameters to it. It's just like, get the job done. And then, it's all gravy.
Yeah, there's a weird thing with Mike too. I forgot who I was talking to about this. Maybe it was Mouse, but it's like when we practice Aftermath or if they're in the split deck in the same pit as us, like there is just a little extra boost in how I play. Just knowing he's there, watching like someone that I kind of grew up under and his presence, with like, it's kind of one of those things like, wanting to make dad proud. You know what I mean? And there's a little extra on that. So it's like, it's something in the Shane was very similar in the way he built. Well, they were different in their approach, but they got the same thing from their players, the players that really wanted to play for them. SK, for me personally, has done that. And that's where coaches want to be. And I'm sure you have that relationship with your players too, Ryan, but that's where coaches want to be, is where the players, they get excited to play for you, and however you have to do that to make that connection, it's really crucial.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
so go ahead.
Can you kind of speak on that for the culture of you guys? I know that, like I said, you guys have been together forever, so is it everybody leading the charge? Is there, I know Archie, definitely always is firing everybody up, but everyone's kind of eclectically charged. It seems like, there's not like a rally man, essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, on our squad, there's a lot of, big personalities, and kind of everyone's got their own little role and how to get people going. And everyone's a little bit different. Some people need that. And I think Colt kind of spoke on it a little bit, and other people need a little bit different. So it's very, like, my process is very individualized as far as I find out what each player needs, and I try to give them a little bit of that. And I'm not kind of that rah guy so much as some other coaches might be, as far as like trying to get people amped and hyped up to play. Because I got guys like Rainey and Archie on the team that they're going to do it, and Meter's, stepping up big, and they're, and there's a lot going on there. So, I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I don't have to be the giant motivator or that kind of stuff. Like, we kind of do it as a family, and our big thing is like those positive vibes. And when someone goes out and has a big point, it's like everyone needs to feed off that, let them know. And, when someone's going on and someone's messing up, the inverse of that is you got to be careful that not everybody is being the one trying to dig in on someone that, hey, you screwed this up. And that's something our team's had an issue of, we're getting better at, is that people don't know that, someone goes out there and blows a point, and it's paintball. Like, a guy's going to win a point as many times as he's going to go out there and make a mistake that loses the point. And I feel like if you jump down that guy's throat right away, and then another guy walks over and says, hey, what just happened? And then another guy, and then I come over and try to coach on it. Well, that guy's just got 4 people jumped on his throat immediately. So what we're trying to do a little bit better of is like, hey, give that guy a minute to breathe, let him think about it, because we're professionals out here. 99% of the time, you screwed up.
Of course.
Right? You don't necessarily need 4 different people to question you on why you screwed up and ask you what just happened. And then let's talk about it. 30 seconds goes away, and then people are able to kind of calm down and actually start thinking about actually fixing it and growth, rather than being immediately defensive. You're still a little bit directly after the point in kind of like a fight or flight mode, as far as, I would say. It's like your adrenaline's still going. Yeah. And if you're approaching someone right then and trying to smack them on the head, I feel like sometimes it's not as receptive as it should be. And that's something I try to kind of avoid. Still talking about Hinman, like Hinman's the best, is like right away, he's letting it fly, he's letting people know he didn't make it down to a practice for a World Cup. And I was so sad about it, because one of my favorite things about practicing them is some of the one-liners Mike gives his guys every time they get shot. They're amazing. And I'm sure, but it's just one of those things. So, but
probably not PTG appropriate either.
They're amazing.
He's really funny. He's like, the shit he says, I'm like, how did you even come up with that? That's just hilarious.
And then so going into the next kind of coach on that list with Tom Martinez, that guy is the motivator. Like that, I think it's people. Todd is so funny, so likable, such a great dude that people, I'm sure, Tyler, like, you guys want to play for him. You want to win for Todd.
Exactly. He's my spirit. Yeah, that's my spirit animal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Todd growing up was one of my favorite players of all time. So being able to have him as my coach is like insane for me, Yeah.
So it's just, I felt when he went over there, just the most perfect fit for Heat, because, Heat's a squad that there's, they're kind of clicked up as far, like, not like, but they've come from pockets of areas. You got the Russians, you got the Philly guys, You got the Texas guys, right? And I think like what they needed for a long time is someone to kind of bring them all together a little bit. It's not like they're not making roster moves as far as like the team's been together for a long time, but it's still from the outside looking in, kind of like groups and pockets of people. And I feel like what Todd's done such a great job of is just being someone for everyone to look at, and this is what we're doing. I think he's done a phenomenal job, and he's got a hard job. I think looking at it, this was his first year with the team, and the first event went terribly for them. Mm-hmm. And so I know you weren't there yet, Tyler, but the Heat missed a Sunday. That's that's not the way you want to start off a season. And then to pivot into coming out in Philly and just being completely dominant is really impressive. That takes a lot of work, and a lot of people, like his first event with Houston Heat, they missed a Sunday. And I don't know how far you'd have to go back until they missed a Sunday. Probably whenever they got relegated in Champions and Challengers would probably be the last time they missed a Sunday. So you're coming out your first
can't really
event.
Put that on. I wouldn't put that on him though. That's like
I
stepping
know.
into new shoes, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
And trust me, I'm not trying to put it on Todd, but it's just one of those things that that's coaching, right? It's like, everyone's, it's top down sometimes, and you change. They didn't change a lot of pieces, right? Same roster. He's the new body. That doesn't happen. And I'm not even saying the players were looking at him, but it's a tough place to be. And for him to just say, we're working harder, we're buying, everyone bought into his system, and they went and won the next event. That's awesome. And then from then on, Heat was there. It's like y'all were there all season. You didn't get the breaks you wanted on Sunday at the last two events, but I think Todd, he did a phenomenal job in a tough spot. So
he's inspiring, man. He's really applying everything he's got to be the best coach he can, and we're excited to go into 2022.
I mean, Todd's done it over and over. He did it with Vicious. Yeah. He could take a young group, groom them up to be competitive. They never won, but they were extremely competitive from what they started out as. He did it with the Ironmen. He led Infamous when I got to play for him to some wins. Todd's dynamite. I think it goes kind of unnoticed that Fedorov wasn't at the first event. That's huge. That's a huge hit to Houston Heat. So then in Philly, not only does Fedorov come back, but then they also get Tyler. The team is immediately boosted tremendously from that. My point is not to take away from the win for Todd, but it's more to the first event. It's not so much like the team is kind of lost without, anytime a team is without their best player, it's going to be difficult, right? It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be tough. And you're right, like being able to, that's how I felt about it as well, is, Todd coming in to be that motivator to bring everybody together. And, you obviously see it happen that first event, and then be highly competitive, both the next two events.
Yeah. So
what moves you guys making, Ty? You guys have any big off-season news?
Zero, actually. Zero moves. Concrete.
I like that.
There you got Tyler. What else they need?
The moves are done.
Yeah. It's telling me he's going to GM of the year for the next decade just for getting Tyler off the fantasy.
That's a big play. That's a big play right there.
Big moves. Big moves right there.
Leopard King.
Yeah.
Man, we got the big cats. Let's run.
Yeah. So, and then the next one on the list, my 10-man partner, Travis Lemansky. Awesome job. I think Travis is just very interesting. I think if you look at how well he's done over the years with probably the most changing roster. Travis, and I think in maybe the past 2 or 3 seasons, he's probably had more roster consistency. And that's probably why they had such a strong year. But for a long time, Infamous has kind of been losing players, gaining players, a lot of like shifting around. And Travis has just always handled it well. He's had a harder time building that roster, consistency, the bond, the experience that comes from it. And they're always still competitive. But I think right now he just had a huge year. And I think a little bit the momentum, I think people sometimes, the momentum from 10-man, it's strong. It's a real thing. You get a win to ride off of. Win's a win, and they're not easy to win either. Mm-hmm.
No, it's so much fun out there playing. Anytime you can play, even I'll play rec ball. I'll go and play like big games. You know what I mean? Just paintball in those, in the woods, like that is fun. I'm not gonna lie, that's how I started. I didn't start on an airball field. I started in the woods. I started playing woods ball, and then it translated to me seeing the airball field, and then I was like, whoa, that looks pretty fun. Being a young kid, you're like, yep, that's the next step. And then going in and trying to play events. But yeah, it's crazy.
Good. And then the last one on the list is the boy SK, who's gonna win it. So it's
He has to.
he has to, right?
He has to, yeah.
I mean, you're talking
Well, I mean,
another coming
yeah.
in the dynasty, often called the hardest job in paintball, and I would agree that it probably is. And then you wind up, you come through the season, don't get the best start, and just get better as it goes. You just did a great job, man. Wins the series, wins the World Cup. If he doesn't get it, I mean, I don't know who's voting. So it's just one of those things. It's just well deserved. And I think Kevin's a guy that I've had a lot of respect for as a coach for a long time. And it's just been competing against him. When when he was coaching Damage, I thought he was one of the best play callers there was, and he made that team very difficult to beat. And then when I was coaching Breakout Spa in Europe for a while, 2012 through 14. And at one point, Kevin was coaching the Polar Bears at the same time. So we were going over there and competing against each other with mostly European rosters. And that's where I felt like, now you're really kind of going toe to toe and see what's up. And there were battles. And I was just like, all right, Kevin, he is a difficult guy. When you're just throwing, Euro on Euro action, you get to see like opening up the playbook and that kind of stuff. And so I know how strong Kevin was. And as he was teamless for so many years, I just knew that he was the free agent that if whoever got him to coach again was going to be immediately better. So great pickup dynasty. Obviously just straight, and losing Rusty is 100% one of the best to ever do it. And it was going to be really big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there was too many other people that could. So
yeah, I mean, Kevin has come in and done a tremendous job. Like you said, it is a tough team to coach. I mean, even with Rusty, there's always so much input, for better or worse. And Kevin has really shut a lot of that down. And in a way, it's like, hold on a second, but we have such valuable information. And in another way, it's like, no, maybe we don't. Kevin's there. He watches every single game from the very first match till the end of the match. I roomed with him at World Cup, and it was like, I barely saw him. He was at the field all day, and he's really confident in his ability to just tell anyone on the team to just shut up, and this is what we're going to do, period. And then he recognizes when it's the right time to give you the freedom to make your own call. I'm incredibly impressed with Skinny Kevin. I always had a similar admiration, when he coached the Ironmen and what he did with them, that young group that didn't really have much expectations, and they were a consistent like top 4 team for a year. And then obviously what he did with Damage. So it's really cool to be able to build a relationship with him. What I did want to say though, it's really cool to hear you, Ryan, say that when you go over to Europe and you have another coach, you kind of it's like, okay, now let's see what's up, because now it's just me versus you over there. Cause it's the same thing with players, right? It's like when I go to Australia and each team's allowed only one pro, it's like, okay, now like everything else, it's me versus you. You know what I mean? Like, of course there's still a team here, but who's going to lead this team better? Who's going to lead this group and, essentially outplay one another, you versus me. So it's funny to see that the coaches have the same thing kind of going on. That's the competition,
definitely.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's like the coaching is like it's like a game within a game, right? And I have to adjust based on who I'm coaching against, because when I know I'm going up against Kevin, I know that he's doing the same thing. So it's like, all right, I have my game plan. This is what I should do, right? But Kevin knows what I should do, so he's processing what I'm probably going to do. So now do I do something completely different so Kevin doesn't shoot my guys off the break, even though it's not necessarily the right thing to do? And
right, because he might think that you're going to make that audible. So then that's a funny one, because I've thought about it. I'm like, at some point, you just kind of have to throw it out the window, because I don't know that there's like once you get that far down that rabbit hole, it's like, okay, it's a crapshoot. It's 50-50 at this point, or am I wrong?
It's difficult. Like, I would say I've had experiences where, like, kind of Colt talked on it on your last show about when he went to Europe with Impact and they ran the same play all through the finals because it was working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you go up against really good coaches, that if they can dissect that, you're done. You just are. And I've learned that the hard way, mainly playing against the Russians, to where you can go through a tournament and everything's working for you. And then you go into the finals, and I'm talking about full staff Russians, not, I don't think a lot of people realize that they didn't have players this year. Well, they also didn't have their coaches, which is huge for them.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you go into the finals and all of a sudden you're just getting annihilated off the break because they know what you're doing. So, and it was actually Archie who kind of pinpointed this. And I think it was when y'all were playing them with the Golden State Kings that you kind of just got to go in and do the complete opposite of what you were doing. And all of a sudden everything's working because they're statistically only gunning for what you're doing. And then you kind of throw that curveball and then it all shifts. Mm-hmm. So
like, even if you're not as confident in that play,
100%.
You get to the finals and you just totally throw stuff out the window. I 100% agree with that. I remember having those conversations when we were playing with the Kings, because the Russians, the first time we played them in Barcelona in the finals, I think they beat us 5-0. They just, and we were dominating. We were playing great. We took down Impact. We took down a bunch of good teams. And then the Russians just totally picked us apart. They knew every single spot we were wanted to go to. They knew once they shot this person, we were going to audible and go to this spot the next time. It was really insane how well they knew what we were going to do.
Yeah. And so, like, even going into this past World Cup finals, I know I see Kevin in the stands, and I think as coaches, we know who's in there and who isn't. And personally, I'm in there a fair amount, but I have other people, like Kevin's doing all the hard work by himself. Like, I have Dixon Yang there doing that hard work, and I'm there to assist because I used to do it all myself, and I very much commend Kevin. What would happen is, especially at the afternoon bracket, I'd get there for the first game, and by the time we get to our matches, I'm mentally drained after a couple of days of that. Mm-hmm. So now I got Dixon in there doing the hard work that kind of frees my mind up. Well, right now Kevin's doing the whole thing, so he's double gold star for him. But I know who's in there. Kevin's in there. And say if we're going to that World Cup finals and I'm going against another team where I know that their coach doesn't have the stats or isn't doing the hard work, then my game plan is probably going to be what I'm most comfortable with. I'm not having to throw so many curveballs. When we're going in against y'all, I'm thinking, all right, well, Kevin's watching. He knows what we're doing. He knows that Billy is running the snake off the break against Heat over and over again, and they're not hitting him. We won those matches against Heat through Billy. So we're holding Billy up more, assuming Kevin's turning those guns. Now, what was really smart of Kevin in this World Cup finals is, I don't know where his guns were off the break, but him saying they caught Billy with Blake's gun a few times, right? From things that, same strategy. I knew Kevin's strategy at least would be to try to shut down Billy because that's what we're winning through. But my assumption would be more so trying to get him off the break. Kevin was sending Blake as almost like as a football analogy, as like a quarterback spy to just one-on-one man on him, which was really, really smart, really intelligent, and it worked. And the one that worked the best, and, you go through at the very first point, Frazier sets up his trap for Billy to crawl over. So Frazier's in the inside of that 50 snake. Billy crawls over. So Frazier's not even playing the game, right? He's just waiting, right?
Mm-hmm. That smart, is playing the game, baby.
Man. Yeah, exactly. But he's not exactly. He's playing a different game, right? He's playing that cat and mouse. And then so there's one. The one that, and obviously everyone's seen the one where Blake comes to our side. Solid move. That move had been there. Colt had actually came to y'all's side maybe the point right before. The one that was most impressive to me is when Blake came to the second, so not the can of death, but the can in front of it, and waited for Billy, because basically what Billy was doing is anytime he would get outside, he would crawl to the 50 real quick and wrap. And it was, and no one had caught him on it the whole time. It was working for him. Blake came to that second can, set inside, and shot him over the top, crawling up. And then once you do that, Billy's been shot now 3 times trying to press it.
All different kinds of ways.
All 3 different times.
Yeah.
3 times, 3 different ways. And then that just kind of it takes you out a little bit. And Billy played great. I didn't mentally take him out of the game, but it took him off the field 3 times in a row. And it has to put a little seed of hesitation in you, and how it changes everything. So that little adjustment, the things Kevin were doing and those kind of manning up to take him out. And it's based on his scouting and based on, hey, this can work. This can work. And it just, he's a solid coach. Mm-hmm. So.
And you got to commend Blake as well. I mean, mm-hmm. I'm sure Skinny, and I know because Blake told us on the show that they talked about that kind of stuff, him being like a hound dog on the snake side, making sure that nobody makes it over there. But I think that, Skinny kind of gives Blake a parameter, and then Blake is just painting in there, he found 3 different ways to get those key eliminations that he knew that was his job, and he really went above and beyond to make sure that happened, which it opens up the whole entire game for Dynasty, but as well as crippling, the one thing that's been working for you guys.
Yeah. And if you look at it, we're sitting there, and I don't know, Marcelo, do you feel like of all usually at World Cup specifically in every finals, like there's that long break in between the semifinals and the finals, but for some reason this one felt so much quicker. And I don't know, maybe there was a longer break before the semis, but it went quick.
The game was started about an hour earlier. Didn't the finals match start at 3:20? I think
something like that.
I think the sun goes down, right? Even for our match, it was still kind of getting to a point where it was a little on one side. So I think they did speed it up and start the match earlier.
So
which I love.
Yeah, I was fine to get it done. Right? Sometimes it's so long. I remember the year prior, we were like guys falling asleep and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, we got to get going. But, but in that time, we're kind of looking at like, all right, how are we going to match up? Where's our advantage? Because we know that by the time you get to the finals, both teams are playing 6 guys for the most part. And so the way we had a decision to make, because Jesse Stevens is playing great for us. And he honestly, we don't make the finals without him. And our comeback against Heat, he went out there and Archie was mainly playing that one spot, and Jesse gave us a boost in multiple points that if he doesn't go off like there, we lose the Heat, and that's curtains. But now we're going in and looking at the Dynasty game, and it's like, all right, how are we going to match up? Because we know who we're going to have in the field. We know who they're going to have in the field. And it's one of those situations like, all right, we got Billy on the snake. Rainey is like, we've been saving him for the most part. And Rainey's it's Rainey, right? We want Rainey on the field in this moment. He's going to come up big. Colt is just a dominator and has been playing great. Meter is a guy capable right now of stealing points at any minute. And then we got Archie out there. So the way we set it up, it's like, all right, Archie's going to match up with Marcelo one-on-one. All right. 2 of the best guys in the game. They're going to match up, and we think it's going to be more so of a wash. As we get into the match this time, Marcelo won that battle, and that's just what happened, right? But we're expecting kind of a wash. It's going to match up there. Colt is going to go, and he's going to match up with Blake. Blake was having a wonderful tournament. So was Colt. All right, we're kind of going to be a bit of a wash there. We got Rainey is going to match up with Yosh or whoever's out there. You got Meter and Greenspan, or Ryan wasn't having the best tournament that he's had, but he's 100% capable and he was having strong points. So we think we got to watch there. And now we got Billy versus Mikey, and Mikey came up huge, but that's where we thought our advantage was. All right. So our game plan was to win through Billy, because we think that we're kind of matched up across the field, and Skinny put Blake on Billy, because I think he probably saw the same matchup, and that's how it played out. So it's pretty crazy. But what we did is that takes Jesse off the field for the most part. And that's, one of those situations. Archie got shot off the break a couple times where Jesse probably would have made it, things like that. So, hindsight's 2020. I had to pull Jesse aside after and say, hey man, I fucked up. You should have been out there. And it's just one of those things, and who knows, he could have gone out there and got his head, blown off. But, right now it's the way it went, maybe, but it's tough. Who are you going to have on the field? And that's something with the three of us in Impact and not so many other teams have, is you got a lot of people, a lot of talent on your team. And when it comes down to trophy time, who's it going to be? And that's a hard call for a lot of these coaches that we're talking about here.
Yeah, man, that must have been a tough decision too, especially to make the choice to go through Billy, because the Impact game seemed like was won through Archie down the Dorito side, right? So like it's kind of going back and forth. And the Heat game definitely wasn't won through Archie, on that side. But the Impact game was like, dude, Archie went off.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we can't let him do that against us, know? Like that was kind of a matchup there as well. So what made you decide to want to go through Billy in that final match? Just the matchup with Mikey?
I mean, it's not even necessarily like we're all our plays are through Billy. It's one of those things that it was just, that's kind of how we felt where our advantage was, and how it would play out. And so we're kind of supporting that. And, Archie's, he's primed to go off over there as well, just as much. We're not really changing that so much. It just so happened that in my perspective, you won that battle. We can run through it point by point, but to me, one of the biggest, that 5-5 point is where I think the tournament was won, because maybe there was 2 minutes or so on the clock.
That's right.
And the way the breakout goes is we shoot, I think, Frazier off the break. So we're up a body, and Marcelo and Archie both stop short. And Marcelo, you win a bunker to bunker long ball snapshot. And as that happens, Blake comes through and doesn't get Rainey. So it's one of those things that if Marcelo doesn't shoot Archie there, then we're kind of primed to win that event, or at least to go up with a minute left or whatever. It's the inverse of what happened. And then Archie dies, Meter fills over to the back center because Archie's dead, and Meter gets a penalty. It's just one of those, that one shot there changes everything. And that's how, everything goes. But it's just, there's a few of those, and you go through the match, and, obviously everyone's got their own perspective of, oh, well, if this wouldn't have happened, we would have won, or that wouldn't happen, that would have won. And it's like, they're hard to swallow, but it's, you have your perspective. This one was a particularly tough one for me. It's a couple of things happen, and a lot of them on kind of momentum. But when we're up 2 points, maybe it's 4-2, I believe. And to go up to 5-on-3, we're in a good situation, primed to win a point. And I believe it's a 4-on-2, and Meter shoots Billy in the back of the head and then gets shot out of his bunker by Ryan very quickly, right? But it's a 4-on-2. And that was to go up 3 points. And it's just like,
which is huge right there.
It's huge. And would go up to going up 3 with 5 minutes left. But it happened, we're in the back on our side. So our whole pit is watching this all go down. And it was not Meter. Billy goes to the bunker, comes up over the top. Meter didn't expect it. One ball in the back of the head, and then 3-on-2, and then Ryan makes a great shot on him. But we're like the momentum of, we're about to go up 3 to like, oh, we just blew it. But whatever, you reset, but there's a little bit of like emotional, fuck, we just did that.
How do you transcend those moments? That's one of the hardest things for paintball teams to do, because those moments, they happen a lot, and you've got to transcend that energy and just be short-minded and be in the moment. You know what I'm saying? You can't get lost in the past or be thinking too much about the future. You got to be steadfast right there,
100%. And it's just, you got it. And we did pretty well at it, but it's like, there's still like a little bit of emotional, but it's short-term memory, and it's supporting your guys. It's not yelling. It's not saying, hey, Meter, like,
of course,
you just fucked this up. Why'd you shoot Billy? Billy's yelling at Meter. Why'd you shoot me? None of that. And none of that took place. And then it allowed Meter to, we'll go a little bit deeper into this match. I mean, it's probably the next momentum shift. Maybe 2 points later, I think we lost the next point. And then the following point, so now we're down by 1. um, Dynasty is up maybe 5-on-2 or whatever big, and Meter comes down the snake side, we're going to lose the point. Dynasty's about to tie it. But Meter comes down and punks out 3 guys, just snap, 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 and then gets in this 2-on-1 that he played as honestly as well as you could.
100%.
100%. And it's one of these, I think he shoots Yosh and hits the horn maybe a half a second before Marcelo hits it, right? And so we're kind of watching this, and this is just another like a little momentum thing. But so Meter played phenomenal right there, right? Gets us what should have been back into, leading this match by 2. It should have given us a 2-point lead, half a second away, right? And the way it went down is they give Dynasty the point. And so we're going to tie game. They got it first and on the scoreboard. And then we're in the pit and they switch it reverse. And now it's showing 5-3 X Factor. And Meter's like, yeah, I know I shot him. He thought he had shot Marcelo. And, I don't know how much, but by them switching it, he thought he was close. He's like, okay, Marcelo was hit. So we're walking out on the field 5-3, thinking, there's a decent chance Dynasty's starting down a body. Just the way it all went down, right? And the letter of the law and the rule book.
I love that you guys thought that. I can't wait to tell my side of this, because it's like, that's funny. Yeah, keep going.
Exactly. So, and we're going out there, and the guys are, and so we're thinking we're playing from a 2-point lead now. They might be down a body, and maybe there's, I don't even know what's on the clock, not a ton at this point, 3 minutes, something like that. And then all of a sudden they correct it. They go back to 4-on-4, and it's one of these situations that it just is what it is. Marcelo hit the buzzer first. There's no arguing it. But to us, just the way it went down, where they had it 4-4 and then they switched it 5-3 and just all that stuff. And so the guys I'm looking at my guys, and World Cup it's so loud. If people don't understand that, like me trying to yell audibles from the sideline, which is something we do a lot of work in. And I guarantee you our shots off the break goes up 70% if I'm telling my guys where to shift guns. There's not a ton of that in the World Cup final. It's just so loud. And I'm screaming as loud as I can for my guys to forget about it. Just focus. It's tied. Just focus. And I'm watching our guys arguing with the refs. What do you mean? This, that, the other. And they're not thinking about, all right, it's tied. It's not going to change at this point. And I just knew that was one of this big momentum shift, that it was just an unfortunate turn of circumstances that we're already kind of mentally the shot in the back, the team kill earlier. And now we have this kind of emotional roller coaster that you're going through. It's all right, we're up by 2, they're starting with 4. And then it's oh wait, it's tied.
That was my biggest fear.
Yeah. So let me hear your perspective.
Okay. So if you watch the film, it's why the fuck isn't Marcelo hitting the buzzer yet? Right. So one, that point kind of played out 2 separate sides. We got some early kills. We had a big advantage. I knew it was a big point. It's World Cup. We're down a point. We're in control. So look, let's make our moves down this side of the field, smart, methodically, and close out, strong. We have enough time and go that route. So I'm going down the field. I think I shoot Colt, engage with Rainey, shoot Rainey. Don't have any idea what's going on the other side of the field until I kind of get to your guys' side, right? So I'm in your Dorito, and I look back and I see in Yosh's body language, he takes off and starts running towards our back center, or I don't know where he went over there. Actually, you can't see it on the webcast, and I don't quite remember, but I realized, okay, someone turned the field on us. I get what's going on. So I was in your guys' first Dorito, and Meter shot a bunch of paint at me. So I'm okay, I'm not just going to go for the buzzer, because this is so funny. In 2018, I was playing with Team USA over in Europe. We're playing the Basildon event. We're playing against the Russians in the finals. And it came down to this long one-on-one with me and Sergey. We were both kind of out of paint. And I just decided, you know what? I'm so close. He doesn't have paint. I don't have paint. I'm going for the buzzer. And I went to hit the buzzer. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I can't believe how close this was. In instant replay, I thought that I had got the buzzer. It was that close. Instant replay, he shoots me in my leg my hand is 2 inches from the buzzer, and then I hit it, right? So we lose the point, but then we also start down a body the next point. And I've had conversations with Jason Trozen for 2 years about this.
that there should be a key on the outside of the start gate to where if you get shot hitting the buzzer within that key, you lose the point. That's fine, but you shouldn't have to start down the next point. Like, you're in momentum, you're in transition. And it killed the match, because then not only did we lose that point, now we start down the next point. We lost that point. So when Meter put paint my way, I didn't know where he was. I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get shot hitting this buzzer and give us a penalty, right? I don't want to start down the next one. So I was like really cautious. And that's why I had played it so slow right there, and almost too slow, because Meter almost stole that one. And so like I go back and watch it, and like, oh, you look so stupid, Marcelo. Just hit the buzzer. But that's all what was going through my mind. I was like, oh, I've been here before. I don't know where Meter's at. He just put paint on my bunker. I'm gonna make sure that I have this.
Flashback.
Dude, I totally had a flashback. And that's something I love about Rusty is at dinner that night, Rusty mentioned to me, he's like, you had flashbacks of that Russian game, because he remembers, I mean, dude, we lost that match, and we take playing for Team USA really seriously. The Team USA has always been so dominant, and it was a huge point. I actually had a great point up until that point to get it down to the one-on-one, and then to get that penalty, and we start down and we lose to the Russians in the finals. I was really upset over it. And then again, it's been a long conversation of like, that rule should be kind of changed. That's not quite fair. So it's been so cemented in my head, and that is 100% what happened in that point right there. I was like, there's no way. And again, Meter almost stole that point, dude. He went off. He absolutely went off.
So he goes off, and it's just that shift of momentum, right? So now we're tied. We get in that point we just spoke about you get that long shot on Archie that I think is just so crucial. And it's just one of those, and that point, that 5-5 point, it's this very back and forth. And I think we're up and down, and then all of a sudden we were down, 3-on-2, and then it just Mikey hits that 2-on-2 shot, and now we're down 1, I believe 1:10 on the clock, and I think now here's where we can get into the concession, the concession. So I'm processing this beforehand, and I think it's important to put it to where the pits are in the back at World Cup.
Yeah.
And I know the players love it. It's great for pretty much everything possible, aside from the concession horn is back in the pit. And for me to see the actual game plan, I'm 20 something yards away. So I'm going into this, processing it and trying to just really like, all right, 1:10 and know the clock and kind of already have it. It's got to, with that margin of error, it's got to be pre-programmed. Like,
sure,
we either need to win this point, or if I'm going to concede, it's got to be in the first 20 seconds, 15 seconds, or there's just no point, right? Because you're down 2 and you're putting this like 2 miracle points to do it. And so I'm going out there like 1:10. I know it. Like, this is it. We're going to let this ride, or I'm going to make the call immediately. So breakout happens, and Archie gets shot off the break, and Colt on the same side, so Dorito's side, gets shot, and he trades with Blake. But it's one of these things, like I look up, and I'm looking for 2 things. Do we get out alive, and do we shoot anybody immediately? And what I see is Archie die, Colt die, and Marcelo is alive on the Dorito side. So we're in this situation where our entire Dorito side is dead, and Marcelo's out there, and a bunker I would probably consider a fortress, to where he can protect the buzzer from both sides. And now he can wrap in on our guys, and we have to win this point in a minute, or we lose the World Cup. And so and right there, I got a judgment call. Do I think statistically we're going to win that point with our 3 bodies and completely, back center over to Snake side, or can we win 2 30-second points? And it is one of these things that I don't know. I've run it back in my head 100 times, and I don't know the answer. Statistically, it's both situations suck. I guess I'll put it that way. And then the other thing is that I make the call, and it takes 5-10 seconds, because I'm running, and at World Cup, I'm yelling at someone else to throw the towel, and people don't know, there's about a 2-second delay of when you actually hit the thing till it actually goes off. and then it's coming. So it probably takes about, maybe a good 5 seconds longer of when I make the decision to when the horn actually goes off. And I think the towel, I think, gives us at 55 seconds. But it's tough. I've run that one back a lot. But do I think that our three, and what it was is a 3-on-4, Colt traded with Blake, but I threw the towel before I even realized Blake came out, and there's probably an error there. But still, I think Rainey made a great move to get out to the Dorito side. But are we positioned to win that with our three bodies? Probably not. Are we going to win 2 points with 55 seconds left? Probably not as well. So it's just one of those, I think the tournament was won on that breakout.
Mm-hmm. That's such a tough call, man. It really is. Truly.
Yeah. And we had talked about it. Like, if it works, you look like a brilliant coach. And if it doesn't, it's like, maybe you shouldn't have made that call. But it's that exact call, in my opinion, beat us, is the reason that we lost Sunday in Orlando, right? I think I told that to you too, or I said it on the show. And I remember when it happened, I was so mad. I was like, fucking Ryan, dude. Like, I was so mad because it was such the perfect call. We were, I think it was a tied game in that match. And there was like a minute left. Tyler, do you remember this? And we break out and we shot like 2 people. And then all of a sudden you like, there was no time for us to even kill the clock. You literally blew it right away.
That's what he did to us on Heat. Yeah. He did that again at this last tournament. We shot 2 off the break and boom, within like 2 seconds, he was like, all right, we're going to the next one.
And to be honest, you talk about momentum and it being deflating. And I mean, you're extremely honest here on the show. I want to be honest as well, but that's almost deflating as the players on the other side. Cause it's like that point almost didn't even happen. I know we got the point, but it's like, you don't feel as good about winning the point. You know what I mean? So there's something that it does to your psyche too. Like we won it, but I don't know. Did we even really win it? They just kind of gave it to us. Like it's a weird thing. It really is, and in Orlando, I remember when you blew the buzzer, I was like, fuck, now we got to play these guys another, like they are really confident that they're going to come back. There is that battle that's going on, and it definitely could have worked out like that at World Cup too. You're right. It's a situation where like both are a low probability, and either could work. Either could work.
Either could work.
It's easy in hindsight to say, well, maybe I should have let that one play out, but that's just not how coaching works.
Well, you were probably ready for it. It sounds like you had already had this kind of like memory of him doing that. So did that prepare you a little bit for that moment as well, then, Marcelo?
It's funny, to be honest. That point in Orlando definitely changed my thinking on when the coach blows the buzzer. And so sure, it changes a few things. Maybe if there's something that I can do to slow down my body language and try to trick a coach into thinking that I'm not aware of the situation. Yeah, that always comes into play, but I know that's not working with Ryan. I know he's aware. But more so is like, hey, you can't let those kind of thoughts creep into your head. Like if that happens, you can't let that affect you. And it, in a way it did, which is kind of unacceptable. Right. But I don't want to say it was new, but in that moment, in that situation, it was the first time that I had like experienced it like that, where I felt like we had complete control. It's a huge point. It's tied up 5-5. And we have a great breakout. And it's like, we're going to win this match. You talk at those highs and lows, Ryan, right? Like, in my head, I'm like, we're going to win this match. Amazing. And then like 2 seconds later, you blow the buzzer. I'm like, oh, we got to earn it again because it's not earned. Not even close. So you're kind of resetting that whole point that we just did, and then you go into overtime and it's a new game, but like you got the team back in that spot. And I mean, in my opinion, it's brilliance. Like you have definitely changed the game in that kind of play style and that, understanding of let's reset. Let's get my guys back out on the field 5-on-5. I believe in my guys 5-on-5 to do that. So yeah, I mean, of course it changed stuff, right? I think anytime you get knocked out on Sunday, you're going to look at certain reasons why, and it's going to change you as a player. It should, at least.
Yeah. And that strategy has worked out for me, multiple times. And I get a lot of credit for it. Really, a lot of the credit goes to my guys, because if they go out and lose the next point, then I look really stupid, and then everyone's and I'm running a risk there, anytime I do it. And, my guys are competitors too. When I blew that one, Billy came in hot.
Oh yeah.
I'm in the snake. Like let me win it. Give me a chance. Just give me a chance. Billy came in hot, and it's because he's a competitor. He believes in himself.
Of course, right?
And I also believe in him. I just believe him to go do it again. And we had a shot. We did win the next point. I would credit Yosh for kind of sealing it there, being in the back center. Meter, I believe he bounced him. Who knows? Ref runs in there. Meter obviously thought he shot him because Meter kind of runs to his death at the end there. But Yosh being alive back there, it changed it from us having 6 seconds left to put the time point on the board to what would have been, maybe 18 to 20. Not high statistics, but doable. Not
doable. Yeah, 6
world record situation. And I don't have Yaya on my team to run on the field in 9 seconds. So it's
leopard speed.
leopard speed. So Yosh came up big there, and it's one of those. But and that's how it went. You guys ready for? This will be a fun conversation. I will preface this breaking news, but this is something that is not 100%, by any means, but it is something that's being discussed. And I think
4 pods.
No, it's going to blow your minds a lot more than that.
Whoa, shit!
And
we got breaking news.
And you guys have kind of complained about not being consulted. And typically I agree. I think the players aren't consulted enough. I actually was consulted on this.
I don't mind, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't want to know.
I pulled aside by the NXL leadership and told that they are seriously considering removing the concede going forward.
Whoa.
Yeah, I am aware of that.
Yeah,
interesting.
But isn't it only if no one's alive? Like, isn't there a weird stipulation?
It would be a minor penalty if you conceded a point if you had a live body on the field.
Wow.
So
that's silly, right?
I when they first told it to me, they gave me their reasoning. Tom's main reasoning is if you're watching paintball and you don't really know, and in that moment in World Cup, and we break out and there's an 8-second point and the horn goes off, you are completely confused on what the heck just happened.
Well, you know why you're so confused? Because when you're there's not even a fucking scoreboard for the people in the grandstands.
For sure, yeah, that is the trouble. So there's
that's an issue.
There's a big issue, right? And I think we're also like at that point we're playing into making a major adjustment to the sport and how it's played, and I think that needs to be tested before it's implemented. Like for a year somewhere else, multiple matches run of seeing what that does to the game before we just throw it in there. That's
interesting
to make people like understand the game better that aren't really involved. So that bothers me a little bit. And then the other argument from ownership was that they think it would be more exciting because when guys are by themselves, it would make you attack forward. You're down on bodies, so you're going to attack forward because you're just burning off the clock and people are going to get blown up and whatever. It'd be exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. So when it first got brought to me, and I didn't want my ego to get involved in it too, because I know that I am.
This is your fault.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they pulled me aside. They're like, well, apparently you're the best at this, and in my head, well, I am the best at this. But they're like, so we want to throw it at you. But I was like, well, I don't want to fight something that's detrimental to the game just for my own personal advantage. And so I didn't fight it right then and there. I was like, oh, well, if you guys think it makes it better, like I'm not going to raise a stink over it. But then I got to sit on it a minute and really think about it. It's like, all right, well, more than likely we're going to see a lot of scenarios where players are on the field and they're the team that's winning. Say you're up by 1.
You're going to milk it.
You're going to milk it. And the players that are on the losing end of that, down on bodies, down on a point, well, they're not necessarily going to know what's going on. They can't see the full picture. Even from the sidelines as a coach, I'm sitting there and with these giant bunkers on the field, half the time I'm running around being like, hey, how many guys do we have alive? Did anybody see them walk off? Like trying to process this from the sidelines. Well, the guy, say you're in a 2-on-3.
Do you think you need to, would it help if we got you like a little platform, little coaching platform?
I had a ladder at one of the events and they made me pull it out as a safety hazard. So don't get me started on that.
No, but I'm talking like a safe,
NXL built.
A safe platform.
Yeah. I think it'd be
not your wobbly ladder where you're going to snap your leg. And
I would love to
let me just say, The stands are nice for watching, and they did have a scoreboard there. I know, sometimes
No,
it's
they
hard
did not in the grandstands. There was not a scoreboard for people in the
It was this
grandstands.
Yes, there
tiny
is.
little
There was
thing,
one on the
Marcelo,
other
but
side of the
it was
field
hard
for
to
the
see in the
for the
sun.
grandstands, but
Yeah,
there was a scoreboard.
Look, sitting in the grandstands, I was in there all weekend. You could not find a score with the clock. You couldn't. Like
It was right across the
there-
field. It was up there. There's a
yeah,
scoreboard.
in the VIP section.
On both. So you had one from the
Yeah.
VIP, obviously, and then
So,
in the grandstands
yeah,
there was a scoreboard.
Yeah,
there.
he has the beautiful 80-inch to look
Let's
at.
not go down
and-
this road, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was not good.
Yeah, but anyways, it wasn't good. But anyways,
It wasn't good.
Yeah,
Period.
if you're on that losing 2-on-3, you might think you're on a 2-on-2, right? You're down a point, and all it takes is the team with 3, one guy just to not engage, and you could milk out the entire clock. And then it's boring as hell to watch. And these guys that are in the 2-on-2, they think they're playing a 2-on-2, and they're not going to just walk out of bounds or, samurai sword themselves, as our guys are saying, well, can we just shoot ourselves to get off the field so you can concede?
Totally.
And so I think there's a lot of, it's really got to be thought
Samurai
out.
sword.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. And even like a 1-on-2, what's the strategy now? You're up by a point and you're in a 2-on-1. You got 2, they got 1. Well, does one of your guys just hide and pretend he's dead so the other guy thinks he's in a 1-on-1 and you try not to shoot him? And it's just all these like things that I think that sport, rather than getting exciting if they do this.
That's a great point.
It could be.
What if you try not? That is a great point.
I think people are going to go out there and try not to win.
Totally, dude. Because I was kind of on the side. I'm like, I see Tom's point, so I don't know if it was Tom that approached you. Someone from the NXL. I see his point. Those points that are conceded really fast are hard to understand if you don't understand payments. Wait, what just happened? Dude, if it's a 2-on-1, yeah, you're going to force the one to walk off the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess at some point you're going to have to shoot him though, right? Because if he does try to attack like he should, I guess if you're down points and down bodies, you're going to have to try to attack. So you're going to have to shoot him, or he's going to shoot both of you, right? There
what
will
if
be
he doesn't know the situation? It's like, he could just think he's in a 1-on-1. These bunkers are huge. There's multiple times at this tournament where people didn't know the count. You're playing on 2 sides of the field. So
happened to Tyler. He started talking to his teammate that wasn't alive, and
Jedi mind tricks.
Well, it got us in the Heat game where it was Tom and Meter versus
right,
Ronnie and Tyler.
Yeah.
And Meter shot Ronnie coming down the Doritos and just had no idea, he just didn't. And so Meter's just like sitting there, telling Tom that like, yeah, he's right in front of you. He's right in front of you. And just like for a minute. And then we're down, we're losing this match. And Meter's right behind me, and Meter knows how he coaches. And so Meter thinks it's a 2-on-2 and it's really a 2-on-1. And he's going, Ryan, don't blow it. Don't blow it. Just give us a chance. Don't blow it, Ryan, because the clock's ticking. I'm like, I'm not going to blow it. It's a 2-on-1, man. But I can't talk back to him. And then, so Tom goes, air bunkers Ronnie, and then Tyler does what Tyler does and wins the 1-on-1. But
oh my God. That's funny. That's so interesting though, dude. That would bring I think that alone makes it, because of course the top level pros are going to play that situation when they understand it. They're
imagine the people running. Like, can you just run off the field? Like if you're the last one, just
exactly,
running towards the box.
And how are you going to explain that to the people that know?
Right.
This guy just shot himself in the face. What's he doing? So our team, we're calling it the reverse dead man's walk. You just pretend like you're not playing, and so I don't know. I feel like I'm all for them trying to make things better and not.
I think there's a happy medium. There is a happy medium.
We just need to test it. Like we need to go out there and test it, because I could see that. I don't know the answer. This is me speculating, right? This is like, if they do this, what's it going to be like? Will it be more exciting? Will it won't? I don't know the answer, and it's because I haven't seen 10 matches played, that style. And I think for where we are at the pinnacle of the sport, it's very difficult to go backwards. If they move that, and do you move it all the way down to the divisionals? That's the divisionals. They're less likely to know the scenarios, and so they're going to have just the frustration of I think the friction of like your teammates are on the field and they don't know, and they basically let a clock run all the way out sitting in their bunkers. Like that's such a frustrating thing, and the friction created from that. I
What
don't
if
know.
you create a scenario where you hit the buzzer? There's a buzzer that lets you know that you have 30 or 45 seconds to win the point, or whatever I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but
I think that's cool.
there's like a
Yeah.
parameter, a happy medium where instead of you can't hit it in the first 10 seconds, but maybe you got an option where you got 30 or 45 seconds or something like that, and you can hit and it makes a sound and you're like, oh shit, okay, we got coach hit this, we got 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And we got to get it done in 30 or the horn's going to blow
Yeah,
or
that could
something,
be really exciting because you get like the other team now also knows like the clock's running,
Yeah.
they're coming,
Yeah.
So
I
it
kind of like that
forces-
too.
Yeah, I like that idea because paintball I think is sometimes most exciting when there's a minute left and one team's down by one, right? Something
Yeah. You
crazy
can create
about to
those
happen.
moments. We could create
Mhm.
those moments all the time with something like that. It's like a shot
Mhm.
clock essentially,
Yeah.
and you got a shot clock, and you got to get it done or it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Dude,
All right,
I
Tyler
like
solved the
that
problem.
idea.
Let's go.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go,
But
dude.
that
Spitball.
kind of leads to where there should be more discussion. Obviously, like there's 200 pro players, there's coaches, like everyone can't have a voice, but
Yeah.
maybe they should elect some type of panel or something that we can work these problems out. It's like
I think
Totally.
they'd be receptive to it. Honestly,
Mhm.
if we put a group together and we're serious about it, not
Mhm.
flaky and showed that our interest is the same as theirs, I think Tom and them would be receptive to that. I really do.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Because he already tries to talk
Yeah.
to as many people as he
They're
can.
amazing.
Tom does an amazing
Yeah.
job trying to and all of these ideas, in my opinion, they always come from a place of truly trying to make the game better, right? I
Mhm.
might not agree with it or think that it's going to have that effect, but that doesn't mean that the intention's not to make the game better,
Mhm.
right? I do agree with you. That would be something that should be tested, that's
Yeah.
because that could be crazy. Tyler, I like your idea though. That can make it really exciting.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Turn
hey,
it up a notch.
Here's the concede point. So, buddy, you have 30 seconds to either win
Yeah.
or if you hit the buzzer in that 30 seconds, then we get the point. If not, we conceded.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, done.
Done.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Let's fucking move
See
on.
ya.
Why didn't they ask
Wrap
us
it up.
sooner?
Send it out.
Why did they ask us sooner?
I don't know.
Holy shit.
Oh man, that's what we do around here. We get, we're solution makers. Solution.
Well, good.
Interesting.
So yeah. So that's World Cup. Marcelo wins another one.
Yep.
So-
Good job, Marsh. Way to go, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
But
Yeah, it's
well deserved.
Dynasty won another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You
big
are
team win.
Dynasty. You're an owner.
Yeah.
Part of.
That's you.
Yeah, part of.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. It's been a fun, crazy year. Really excited for 22 to roll around. We got a bunch of shakeups happening. Obviously, it's going to be an interesting year next season. Also, I heard a rumor about they're going down a little bit on the paintballs in the cases or something like that. I don't know. Is that just a rumor? Or is there anything in there?
I just saw that.
Yeah.
And I understand it. Like the assumption or what's talking about is that the cost of producing paintballs has increased.
Yeah.
So obviously, if they can't lose money selling paint. So I my assumption is what the rumor is that they're going to go down to cases of 1,600. I assume that the price would stay the same. That or you just increase the price of paint. I don't know why you would. It's probably one of the same. I did say Short just posted that HK won't be doing that, but I don't
Buy
know
HK,
what the
baby.
situation is. But he didn't say we're not going to be charging more. He just says we're going to be selling boxes at 2,000. But it does.
Where did he post that?
He just commented somewhere that someone was like, "Hey, we're going down." So Short just said, "Well, we're not doing it. You want 2,000, boxes of 2,000, come to HK." But it's just, it's interesting to talk about. If the price of paint has to go up, in my perspective, we're going to need to adjust how paintball is played to not price everybody out of it.
Of course.
We're already pricing out 90%, if not more, of the population. So it's interesting to talk about how we'll do it. But I get it. That's what holds our sport back, right? We're playing paintball is so fun, but what holds it back is that it costs so much to do it because we're shooting disposable things. Like soccer, you buy one ball, you can play for 2 years. If paintball was like that and it just costs you, whatever, $50 and you can play forever, then I think it's so fun. The problem is that it's expensive. And so if things start to get more expensive, I think it will be very detrimental to the sport and the growth of it. So it'd be interesting to throw around some ideas of how do we combat that, just
I got
assuming
one.
that it's getting more expensive.
Let's call it like digital paintball, the paintball of the future. You wear a vest, you shoot these balls that when it hits the vest, it lights you up or something like that. And, you know, like then you can always shoot those same paintballs. You just, you know, you got a guy who instead of picking up pods is out there getting all your paintballs and bringing them back, you know, or I don't even know. But
so we're like in a full on, like, you know, haptic suit.
The digital world.
It's
in the metaverse.
You hit on something. So in the metaverse, here we go.
It's in the metaverse, actually. That's where it's played. You could talk to Zucks. You know, we chat all the time. It's not a big deal.
It's a big deal. You're just talking with your alien people, so don't worry about it. But you know, Zuck's probably alien too. So you know,
hey,
I believe it.
I'm not gonna. No, he's a good guy.
I believe it.
So yeah, we have to definitely be mindful of it. It's going to be interesting to see. Who knows? Maybe even you know, there's always talk about changing if we cap it at 6 pods or something like that, or I don't know what the number is, but I think, you know, if it does go that route, I think paintball is still really enjoyable with 6 pods.
Yeah.
If you know,
it's great. 4 pods.
Yeah. Limited paint is great. 4 pod is great. I know when they first brought it to Europe, it did not statistically limit the amount of paint all that much. It really didn't. I think you would have to do something more. And maybe that is that we just all start shooting mechanical, you know, which I think is, you know, I'm obviously a big mechanical guy myself. But
well, yeah, you're the world champion mechanical player. So
all time. But, you know, that would slow things down a bit.
Not with the way Archie's shooting. I've seen that.
Yeah, that thing's full of yeah. But you know, you would waste, you know, less paint. You could limit the paint even more, or maybe it just needs a format change. You know, to me personally, I think what's lost in the X-Ball format right now is, and I you know, I love 7-man. That's kind of like I just love 7-man. I really do. I love 10-man. It's not that I don't like X-Ball. But the difference is, I think, when you go out right now and you play a 7-man game or a 10-man team game in a tournament, then you get to go and talk about that point. And in those points, there's typically a hero, you know, one guy that blew it open, right? And then there's multiple, oh, I shot that guy, I got 3, I got whatever. And it is fun, like walking off those points and being able to relive that individual point and talk it through. Right then, as you're getting ready for the next one. Now
you still get that on a 5-man field. It's just a little bit different.
Well, you get it, but you go. It's so quick, right? We're talking. You got 2-3 minutes between points, and so that recap you get after the match, and then you're kind of going through it and all that kind of stuff. But I think in those 10-man, 7-man formats, it's like every game is like its own story, you know. And you go out there and you played, you know. I'm trying to think back to 7-man. Maybe we played like 8 games in a day, but I didn't feel like, you know, at that time we were playing 7-man and X-Ball at the same time. I enjoyed 7-man more. And you're playing less paintball, you know, the points were longer, but I didn't feel like, oh, I didn't, you know, after a day of an MPPL tournament, I was like, oh, I wish we would have gotten to play more. It's just
was this
more
when coaching? There was coaching going on as well at that time.
At the X-Ball. Definitely.
So that was the real thing. I mean, for me, yeah, of course, when there was coaching, I was like, oh, this is kind of, because paintball is all about the elements of surprise. And I feel like when there was coaching, it just, even if I was like doing the best timing, best moves, it was like, he's coming, here he comes.
That's the worst.
Like, okay, you got me. So I'm glad that they got, you know, that we don't have coaching, because you have to, as paintball, it needs that. And that's at that time what 7-man had for sure.
Yeah, crazy that it took so long. It's like then we got coaching off of just one side, so now it was only on the Snake side, and then we finally got rid of it. But it's like, can't believe it took 4 seasons or something to work that out, because it just was a mess. But yeah, I just, you know, personally, I really enjoyed 10-man, 7-man, and there's something to it, a little magical to me about just every game being a story, you know, that's something to talk about and remember and kind of revel in. And I just think, and I'd have to go back, but I do think that you would shoot a lot less paint. I just think you would.
Yeah, you get to play with Chris Lasoya too. Legend
Oh
of
yeah,
legends. You
I
get
get
to
to
run
do a
around
lot of
with
things
Lasoya.
with Chris Lasoya. Share hotel rooms with Lasoya. Drive to the field with Lasoya. It's just
Yeah,
what a guy, dude. Just an amazing person. Just
to the
one of my
moon.
favorite people in the world. Yeah, and just an
To the moon.
absolute legend.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like I grew up idolizing the guy.
Yeah.
And they say, don't grow up to meet your heroes or stuff like that, because a lot of times it's not going to be what you thought it would be, and a letdown. I would say with Chris, that just hasn't been the case, dude. That
Opposite.
guy's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, man. He is just such an animal on the field too. That guy is so damn good at paintball. Still, like, you saw at that hyperball on the hyperball field, he tapped on the dude's shoulder. He's like, "Hey, why
Yeah.
don't you
I'm right
come on
here.
out of here?"
I'm
Yeah.
right here, boy. Yeah, one of these tournaments that we actually won, one of the ICPLs, we were gonna lose it because we're playing. I don't even remember what team. It was Ground Zero. We're playing Ground Zero in the semifinals. And in these time bands, people don't know. Like, once you get into the semifinals, there's 3 teams, and basically you play each team. There's brackets of 3, and you play each one. And if you lose a game, like another team maxes you, then the other team stalemates, and you're out.
Mhm.
And so we're playing Ground Zero first, and Billy goes out wide, and Billy gets shot and basically what happens is a ref runs in there and calls him clean. And, and Billy's like sees the hit on himself. And so he's like, all right, I'm good. So Billy's like, well, I'm just going to move up, and the guy said it's clean, so it's rub. I'm just going to wipe it off or whatever. The guy looked at it, called it clean. Well, another ref across the field saw the whole thing take place, unbeknownst to Billy. So Billy, takes it off. The guy runs over. This is, it's like 10 on 10 at this point. They pull Billy, and I'm sitting there, and I look, and then they go and pull Callie. And I'm like, and then I see him running to pull Travis. And so it's like our whole like snake side is getting pulled off. And so I start yelling to Chris, like, Chris, they're pulling Callie. They're pulling Travis. And all of a sudden the guy starts heading for me. I'm like, Chris, they're pulling me too. They're pulling me. Oh my God. And so basically they pull 4 of us out on this, like a 3 for 1, and like Billy, and then 3 for us, like off the break almost. And so it's now a 10 on 6 off the break on this field. And it's all of us off one side of the field. So, and Chris has like a bum knee at this point. He's up the field, and just magically, he looks back, waddles his way to my bunker. And so now Chris is literally like playing a 1-on-4 on his side, and just proceeds to long ball punk all 4 guys out of their spots. Like,
oh no,
the tournament was over, and Chris is just one balling people to win this thing. And I was like, geez, this guy just still has it. He's actually lost some weight recently. This is probably when he was in his worst shape. And I was just like, this guy is like out of shape, should not be on the field, and is just still just amazing. So it's been fun.
That's an homage to like the old Push video, from when I was a kid. I just remember it's on replay. He's like, guy could win a game by himself, I just hear it from the movie, and it's true. He's just an absolute monster out there, and he knows how to play paintball extremely well. The game of paintball, he understands.
Yeah, I mean, we're so good out there, they had to change the rules out of us and try to kick us off.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Are you guys still good for next season?
Yeah, we're gonna adjust. They got pressure, they had to go, so I think they're gonna do 3 pros can play at the same time in the pro division, which is like, whatever. I think I think it came down to a vote. So it was they went to all the 20-something pro teams and said, hey, do you guys want to allow unlimited? And it was already a little bit capped on a point system, but you're able to get about seven pro players on the field. So you want to take it down to 3 or leave it how it is. And the vote came out closer than honestly I thought it was. It was like 12-9 or something like that for it to limit it to 3 pros. But I kind of laughed at it. I went to, like, of course we got voted off the island there. Like, if you did that, and if they let the 20 NXL X-Ball teams vote to get rid of Dynasty, Impact, and X Factor and Heat, like, we'd be gone in a heartbeat. Like, it's just one of those things that they left it up to those to get rid of us.
They did the same thing to us in Europe,
100%.
Same thing right now, and it's such a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer, and it's tough. I feel like they should just say, "Hey, look, the best people are going to play, and let it work itself out." And we can, and we'll go to Europe next because I think that's honestly even worse. But and so it is what it is. Now, for us as Infamous, the X Ball team, now we kind of have something. I honestly think we're going to be just as dominant. We have a lot of. It's like we didn't have 10 pro players out there anyways. I'm out there, Soya's out there, Lemansky's out there, Sean White's retired is out there, Drew Templeton's retired out there. It's like we already
Dude, everyone
like,
you just said is hitters.
yeah,
Hitters.
so it's not, I don't think they're gonna get what they wanted. I think they're gonna continue to lose. And honestly, the 10-mans, they're not automatic. I'm not saying we're gonna go out there and just win. It's been an uphill battle anyways. But what they did is that they eliminated Cap Factory. I don't think Cap's going to play, right? That team was a bunch of pro player friends for the most part playing. Now telling those guys they only have 3 pros, they're probably just not going to play. And then AC Diesel, they had a lot of their guys there playing. And so I don't know, they're going to have to do the same thing. So I think it's just going to make it easier for Infamous to win. I honestly do. And so,
or maybe all those players are probably going to just spread out into other teams now, and you won't have, because there was a lot of teams that didn't have a surplus of pros or anything like that.
I mean, that was an argument, but us as I'll just, the guys that are playing on the professional NXL circuit, we go to these 10-mans to have fun and be with our friends. I mean, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, they're a great time. Of course.
And I love 10-man. It's given me so much. I'm so grateful to Tim and the people that brought this back.
Dude, how many rings do you have?
I'm running out of fingers, and
damn, me too.
No, seriously, how many rings do you have?
I'm not. I think it's just like 5 or 6, but it's one of these.
I think it's like 5 or 6.
I am the most winning this because Archie and Billy they kind of rotate out, but I've won 2 ICCs and 3 or 4 ICPL, so it's more major 10-man events than anybody else. So I'll toot my own horn there.
There we go.
Yeah, but it's one of the situations where I love it, but the sacrifice I'm already doing, being away from my family, for my commitment to X Factor, it's difficult. And if you're telling me that if Infamous isn't going to play, I'm probably not going to play. I'm not going to go play with another one of these 10-man teams, even if they paid me, because I'm there to be around my friends too, and escape and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of these guys are the same. And so I don't think there's going to be this great, players going here, players going there, just because you can only have 3 instead of at a time. I don't think it's going to disperse like that. So I don't know. I hope they get it together, and I hope it works out. I understand why the league did what they had to do, because they're trying to cater to their customers. Their customers are saying, "Hey, we don't think this is a fair fight. Please make it fair." But life isn't fair. I think those guys should just step up and play for it is. And honestly, as Infamous, we're really motivated to now really go prove a point. So I think they've. I don't know if it'll be Mr. Nice Guy anymore out there.
What you heard it? You heard it here first. 10-man fields, watch out! It's going down, dude. I'm definitely not showing up now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's insane. Why would I ever step out there with you?
No, never, dude. Never. Get out of here. But Europe. Oh my gosh, dude. That one hurts me even more. Just because if you look at the history of how long the American teams have been over there, and I think what that did for the whole region and countries and all that stuff of Europe, how much better the European teams and players got by the experiences with American players, and to now take that away from them, and just by a very similar thing to this, there was teams that thought we have no chance to beat Heat, to beat Impact, so we want a chance to win. Get rid of those teams. But what they realized is that you just nerfed the whole situation. You took out the highest talent, and now when you win, what are you really winning? And really just leaving it. Is it 1 American player? Is that correct, Marcelo?
Yeah, just 1.
I mean, that's
per team. It's crazy.
Yeah, maybe do 3 like you're doing in the 10-man, but 1
at least do 2. Yeah. At least do 2. Yeah. You want your buddy to roll over there with you, But I agree too. To me, I feel very strongly that the teams that voted against it would have still played either way. But you're right. Like if you ask them, of course they're going to say, "Yeah, don't let those guys come." You know,
Yeah.
like we have a better chance. It's a huge bummer for sure. I just can't wait to get back over there. The reason I think it's a big bummer too is it limits exposure to probably the coolest part about our sport. So to me and to a lot of people and to anyone that I tell that I play professional paintball, the coolest thing about our job is the fact that we get to travel all over the world to compete. So now you're making it to where less pros from the US that have a social media presence that are actively sharing, whether it's on their YouTube or their Instagram, what they're doing in these foreign countries with paintball, you're limiting that. You're limiting that exposure. That's a bummer. I know there's US pros now that don't have a team because look, there's 20 pro teams. And so there's only 20 US pros that could be, on those teams. Whereas that was occupied by just two teams alone, last year. So it is a huge bummer. I think it's a little bit of a setback.
What's the
I really
travel
hope
like?
that they revise that.
Yeah, it's all shut down still, right? I mean, they're not having events, are they?
They
Well,
have
they
one
had the
thing.
Paris event. Yeah, they had
They
the
did.
last event.
But it's even worse than the one pro being allowed because they're scheduling events on top of practices, and they're
That
actually
was an
making
accident,
it
though.
impossible. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that was an accident.
Yeah.
Well, so I hear, but I trust Tom. Tom was like, man, I completely messed that up. I was in such a long back and forth with getting that event scheduled in Europe when they finally had a weekend that worked and a date. I was just like, yes, this is it. And then it was like, oh my God, but this conflicts with, Chicago practice. It won't be like that in the future. Again, I choose to believe that, but yeah, I was like, dude, so if I wanted to go, I couldn't go. Well, that was the case is I was going to go and we couldn't because it was the practice for Chicago. But I don't think it'll be like that. I don't think it'll be like that in the future.
Yeah, it's just tough. I mean, I think
It's a tough year.
as a professional, you should want to compete against the best. And when you win, I beat the best in the world to do it. I think anything else is you're not playing at the highest level. You're just you might as well just play semi-pro. Just go play D1. Like if you are unwilling to play against the best, then it's just your ego wanting to say you're a professional. That's 100% what it is. You just want to claim you're a professional. Because if you're in it to win tournaments and you can't be the best, then you're playing in the wrong division. If that's what's important to you. If the challenge is too big for you, then play a division down. It's as simple as that.
Agreed. Totally agree. Yeah, make a semi-pro division or something of that nature. But yeah, I guess like the argument is you can't play in the. I think it's for different contractual reasons, but you can't play in the NBA and go over and play in the European League. You have to choose one or the other. But I believe that's because the NBA wants the rights to your likeness. So it's kind of a little bit different reasoning. I don't think it's a skill thing or anything like that. But still, I don't know. Again, to me, my point is that it is the coolest thing about what we do. It is the coolest thing, those opportunities. It's the coolest story about why it is cool to be a professional paintball player. You get these amazing opportunities to travel the world, play a game that we love with your friends. And it kind of has been taken away a little bit because of that rule, which is a bummer.
You can still travel, right?
You can, yeah. But again, it's limited. A lot of players are not going to have teams and they simply don't have teams because a team can only choose one guy.
And
so
that
yeah,
guy is
some
probably
can.
the top of the charts, and he earned that spot. It's kind of you got to earn it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm talking. You want to have your battle buddy too, like when I would go over
I'm the biggest advocate. It needs to be at least, you need a buddy out. Like I want to, I don't even like traveling unless I have just a diehard friend that I know is with me. I never travel solo. Like it's just not, I don't know. I got to have like a road dog,
Yeah, my point is, of course it's cool that if you're getting, I'm not worried. I have a team. I have a team already. I'm not worried myself personally, but there's more players in the US that now can't go over there and share those stories with their friends, their family, and the people that follow them on social media, which helps grow the sport. In my opinion, again, I believe that story of professional paintball, like traveling and living that lifestyle, is one of the
course.
most alluring things to what we do.
Of
So
course.
the
That is-
more people
Yeah.
that can do it, the better. To limit it kind of stinks.
That is the edge we have over other sports. Just like we're saying that
For sure.
these NFL people, NBA, all that stuff, yeah, they get paid millions of dollars. And yeah, we'd probably trade the millions for the experiences, but it's like we have these experiences that you can't buy. And that's what we have. We're not going to get the millions. So let these players go out and live these, my times in Europe. And I do, like, I enjoyed being able to go implant with another team, right? And be able to, it opened my perspective way more. And I've always thought it'd be fun, like, Impact or Heat, going over there, being with all your boys and getting to, run the towns that you're in, that stuff.
Totally.
But being able to go and implant with Europeans in their homes and actually see cities the way that a tourist would never be able to see them it's amazing. And I do think that we've really stripped that away from the guys coming up unless they change it.
Yes.
Because there's 20 teams or whatever, but even though there's 20 teams, they don't all even have the budget to fly for an American. So what we're really talking about is
Right.
maybe 15 players max. Are going to have the opportunity, and it's not going to be the news guys coming up. It takes away a lot. And then now, those opportunities are less. Luckily, guys are going to be able, I think this is a good opportunity for maybe other leagues and other regions to, step up and, say, hey, you Americans will open our arms to you guys and kind of give that opportunity somewhere else. Maybe the DPL or some of these other leagues can kind of let more, and they already had that rule in place. And like, Australia, I believe it's only one pro there as well, one at the field at the same time. So the NXL's kind of followed suit into this. But I do think maybe someone else should then say, all right, well, let's open it up and let's be the premier international league, because if the best players aren't allowed, then I don't think there is a premier international league right now. I think there's an opportunity for another league because, I want to watch the best. I would watch the European tournaments. Obviously I'm a paintball nerd, but I would literally, and I got friends playing, but I would watch some of y'all's like finals games. That
Dude, you watched a lot of our games. Like you'd be up at 2 a.m. I remember Archie saying, "Hey, Ryan's saying that this is going on." But that was like kind of where I earned even more respect for him. Like, dude, this dude's up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, kind of scouting games, watching different stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the premier international league is in America. That's where it is. And if you want to be the best, then you play in the NXL, and that's where you play. Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, well, that's always been. I just mean like another, not the NXL, another place for, because before like Millennium Series, we were able to say like, well, the NXL is where the best players play, and we are the best league outside the NXL. And now I think that's kind of it's up in the air, in my opinion. I feel like they've whatever. I'm sure there's business reasons for it, but I think we're maybe a little bit too soft on teams being the ones to be able to threaten to, hey, we're not going to play. Because honestly, I'm with you, Marcel. I think they're probably going to play anyways.
Yeah, for sure. They're gonna play anyways. And I know for a fact there are so many kids that are fans that are like, oh my God, Houston Heat's gonna be here in Europe. They never get to go to an NXL event in the US. But guess what? They're in Germany and there's gonna be an event there, and Houston Heat's gonna be there. They're gonna get to meet them in person, their favorite team that they watch on the webcast, that they're up at 2 a.m. watching the webcast.
So
5 times a year.
Why did it change in the first place?
Well, like we said, the pro teams didn't want the U.S. pros there anymore because they feel they can't win. I mean, that's literally it, right? That's the NXL put it to a vote with the other pro teams if they want. I think they had like multiple things, like allowing 3 players, 2 players, 1 player, or full team, and just allowing 1 U.S. pro was the main
and
one.
It's just this thought, like they're not giving the opportunity to rise to the occasion. So like, I'll give you an example. The first time I went to Europe to coach was maybe the tail end of 2012. So I went over to coach Breakout Spa, and it was going into like Chantilly, the last event of the year. So I get over there, and Michael Kovar was living in Belgium at the time. So I stayed with Mike. He was playing with Breakout. And we do a little practice in Belgium, and then we are driving to France to go do a practice. And we had the opportunity to go practice. And in our bracket for the tournament is 3 prelim games is what used to be in the Millennium. And we had like a European team, and we had Heat and Impact. And so that was their prelim draw. And these guys are like just already just counting themselves out. Like, oh, how are we going to beat Heat and Impact and make it on? It's just impossible. And so we get an opportunity, because they're a GI team, to go practice in France the day before the tournament against Heat and Impact. And they're like, oh, Ryan, we're not doing that. I'm like, why would we not go practice Heat and Impact? Like, why would we not do this? And they're like, oh, well, they're going to beat us up. And then mentally they're going to, they'll be in our heads, and then they're just going to beat us any worse. And I was like, dude, this is a losing mentality, to the T. Like, let's go to this practice. So we go to this practice, which was amazing. Some of the things you do in Europe are just so crazy. Like, we drove up this mountain hill, and there's just one field on top of this like mountain with a castle in the background. Just amazing practice. And we get beat up by Heat and Impact all day long. But guess what? We go to the tournament and we beat them both in the prelims, because you just have to have that mentality that you can play with these guys. Like, you can rise to the occasion. So we beat them both, knocked out Heat. I think Impact went on, Heat went home. And it can be done. European teams have won. The Tauntauns have proved it's possible. Breakout Spa, we went to the finals. We multiple times, we're very close to winning those tournaments. And then when I stepped down and Todd came and replaced me, he carried on and kept taking that team to a top team over there.
Dude, how about those Kiwis? How about the Expendables?
Yeah, Expendables.
You ever seen those guys?
Have
you ever seen those guys?
Ever seen those guys? I saw those 4 Dynasty guys and whoever else was out there win them in. But maybe that's not the best example, but teams will get better and people will rise to the occasion. I think that's something that just people need opportunities to rise to the occasion. You take the occasion away, then people are going to stay stagnant. And I think it happens everywhere. I think it happened with you, Tyler. Like, when you left Dynasty, everyone's counting Dynasty out. Like, hey, they already don't have like the deepest roster. They got injuries. They lost, arguably one of the best players, not even arguably, one of the best players in the league, like hands down. And people like Dynasty screwed, right? But what that does is Dynasty, from outside looking in, they come together and someone has to rise to the occasion, all right?
Of course.
In my opinion, Blake very much rose to the occasion there. Blake's been a great player for a long time, but you leaving made Blake have to go put the team on the back more. And he did it, and he proved that it can be done. It's just, and that's how the sport is sometimes. You lose your guy, but other guys can step up. We talked about Fedorov not being at the first event with Heat, and maybe that's the reason they didn't do so well. Well, you look at Heat over the course of their tenure in the league, because I think they're coming up on their 10th season here. And if you remove 2012 out of there, where they just went out a run, they won 3 out of 5. From then on, let's just say loosely that Heat's won, take your about, maybe they've won 7 tournaments or 6 tournaments or something. Maybe it's 8. I'm not 100% sure. Well, one of those tournaments they've won when Fedorov wasn't there. And 2 of those tournaments they won when Fedorov was hurt, and 2 when Chad George was hurt. Right?
Yep.
Something probably more than 30% of the time, Heat has won tournaments without their best players. Right? Because other guys will step up and rise to the occasion if you give them the opportunity, and they're not scared of it. And I think a lot of people they count people out too soon. It's just, you get put in the position. When Dalton went down for you guys, Marcelo, it's like, I thought you rose to the freaking occasion, playing out of, maybe not out of position, out of a position you have been playing. Personally, like, I'm never going to say this to y'all, you've done it now, but in those seasons where you guys were maybe missing some firepower as a 1, I always thought you should have done it. Some of the best, I think one of your best years is when you played with the Russians and you played the 1. And I think that's some of the best paintball you've ever played. And obviously I understand why you took a step back and why you play where you are, because you're such a a connector, and communication is so, it's the pinnacle. It's so crucial. But when y'all were hurting as Dynasty because you maybe didn't have an outside threat on both sides, I always thought you should do it. And I think Dalton getting hurt forced you guys into doing that. And Dalton's an amazing player. I'm not saying if Dalton's there, whatever, doesn't happen. But look, Dalton wasn't there, and you rose to the occasion and you balled out. And you hit that shot on Archie that, in my opinion, wins the tournament. You don't know. Maybe Dalton doesn't hit the shot. So it's one of these things that people just need to be given the opportunity to rise. There's rumors going around right now, like, we don't know what Archie's going to do. We don't. To be perfectly honest, Archie doesn't know right now. But he's got a lot of options. He might not play. He might play for another team. And I think, hot take, I think it is more likely he doesn't play with us than likely. I think that's, just straight up. I love the guy, one of my best friends. And he should be allowed and supported to go do what makes him happy. Just like Tyler, when you left, I know some people were on you, some people supported you. And
I mean, look at this guy right here.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Right. Support you. And think about it.
My guy.
You were with Dynasty for so long and you did so much for the program. You didn't, in my, it's my perspective, right? But you gave to them and they gave to you, right? But if you want another chapter, you should be allowed to do that and pursue that and be happy, and people should support you. And I think if Archie does leave, and if he retires, whatever, he's going to get supported. I hope he doesn't. I want Archie to play paintball. Right?
Yeah, me too. Get him out there.
If he's not going to play with us, I want him to go play somewhere else. And that's going to make it harder for us to win. That guy's an amazing player.
That's a true friend. Is what that is. Yeah,
but I want him to be happy. And I'm not even like, me and Archie, we had lunch today. And I could sit there and say, there's other team. I'm literally at lunch with him, and there's other teams talking to him while we're at lunch, and top teams, right? And I'm not sitting there saying, hey, Archie, I really think you should play with us. This is why you shouldn't go to there, blah, blah. I'm not putting that information in his head, because he asked me, what do you think I should do? And my response is real simple. Go play somewhere. I want you to play, but play where you'll be happy. Right? It's
course.
Simple. And is it going to be hard for our team to carry on without him? Well, absolutely. But what it does, I'm confident that we'll have somebody rise to the occasion. Mm-hmm. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, right? Those are very big shoes to fill, but it's done before. I think it did great for Dynasty, right? You guys won the World Cup with you, right? You won the World Cup without you. I'm not, it's not like Dynasty was better because you left. That's not the case, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
But maybe, right? But
maybe they're playing a whole entirely different game now. I don't know.
But at the end of the day,
we changed everything.
Yeah.
We threw everything out the window.
Yeah, you threw everything out the window.
But it makes people come together. It does.
It does. Absolutely. It shocks the system. It really does. And it, like you said, there's only two ways to go. Which way you going? Where you headed? You know what I'm saying? You got to make a firm stance in the sand and point yourself in the direction that you're going to be going. And that's all there is to it,
100%. And just like people, if he does, people are going to try to, give him a hard time, I'm sure. But I'll probably this is my best place to do it. And prematurely, I'm coming to his defense. Hopefully, I hope he chooses us. But at the same time, he gave to our team. He doesn't owe us anything else. You know what I mean? He just doesn't. He deserves and I think that's what he might be looking for, another chapter. And I think that's why he's flirting around, but he doesn't owe us anything. He gave to us. And if he wants to go do something else, then he should be supported in that by even our fans that are going to be upset by it. It's like, we all, that's Archie's do what you love, and if he's not loving it, like, go do what you love, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely follow your heart. And obviously, you know, that's going to be such a hard bridge. And I can speak from experience because I just went through it, and it's gut wrenching. I mean, just thinking about it right now hurts my stomach. You know what I mean? It's like, it's definitely a hard decision. And I pray that this guy continues to play paintball. You know, the last thing that we want is for him to be off the field, because he's such a spectacle to watch. He's always going to do something exciting, and he's just an amazing paintball player, you know? So we got to keep our players in the court, on the field, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he doesn't go to Impact or Heat.
Oh man, if he goes to Dynasty, it's just gonna be like, oh, they're stealing our World Cups, they're stealing our sponsorship, they're stealing our players, our pets' heads are falling off. It's just gonna be an absolute mess.
Dude, we're JT brethren now.
Yeah,
Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited to put those goggles on. I
Yeah,
had one pair
great,
of
man.
JT goggles when I was like maybe 11 or 12 years old. They were so
Yeah.
huge, but they were so comfortable. They were amazing. And then I've never had JT or that side ever again. But they look cool. They look badass. They look comfortable.
Yeah.
Are they still as hard to change the lenses? I remember that was a thing back in the day.
Well, if you get Archie, he'll show you a trick. No, so it's he like me. Like when I go to 10 Mans, I'm like, here, Archie, please do this for me. Like there's a trick to it, but I break my thumbs trying to do it. And then they have the ProFlex X, which Billy wears, which is like a quick change system that you can do. But a lot of guys want the full on old school.
Oh, you got to have the OG. Yeah, are you kidding?
Stuff,
those goggles are so tight looking.
Yeah, John Dress, if you're listening, put Dynasty in the ProFlex X, the whole squad. You need someone to support it. But
I'm sure we'll have someone wearing those. You know, why not? I think Billy looks super cool out there.
Yeah, Billy's cool. Yeah. He can pull them off. I think I'm trying to think who on your team should have to rock that. I think
it should be Urena.
It should be Greenspan. Yeah,
it should be Urena.
Greenspan deserves it.
Yeah, just Greenspan. No, I want Ryan to wear the regular ProFlex and flip it up. Yeah, flip it up.
He's got to wear the white bandana. If you got to do it, you got to go all the way.
I've been trying to get Ryan to wear the white bandana for like 3 years now. He finally wore. Alex gave him a Hormesis headband. That's super dope, but it was bright white, had like a little blue Dynasty kind of logo at the end. Really sick. But he wore it the first weekend of practice against Uprising, and he had a horrible day. And he was like, "This thing's bad luck. I'm not wearing it again." It's like, damn it, that's the vintage Greenspan right there.
Yeah, you got to get him like a bandana, like he had, you know.
Yeah, for sure,
like a real bandana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. And honestly, like growing up, I was an Oliver fan. Like I was an Oliver fanboy for sure. But like my
all three of us here were.
But I also was a bandana guy, and I found this white bandana that Dixon had put. Like my very first tournament with X Factor, I used to wear a white bandana, and but I won't concede that it was because of Ryan. But and so it's cool, and I found it. It says X Factor. It's like in perfect condition. I found it maybe like 3 days ago, maybe a week ago or so, and I picked it up. And Ryan's always giving me a hard time, so it's funny. He was even like he was out having drinks with Devin and Meter the other day, and I'm on FaceTime with Devin. I just hear Ryan in the background. He had a few drinks, and he's like, "Hey, congrats on the ICC win. You're really good in the woods." Like he's just talking shit because they just won World Cup, and I'm like, motherfucker. So Ryan's like, so I pick up this bandana. I'm like, oh, this is dope, and I'm just like, Greenspan, and I just threw it back down. Like it's so iconic. Like he owns that bandana.
It is. He does. Yeah.
He's got to get it. He's got to get it back.
Yep.
You got to go with the frosted tips, the earrings, the puka shells, the white bandana. I mean, I think he goes full send in 2022.
Yeah. What do you got under the hat there? Is the hair still blonde, or you're covering it up?
Oh yeah, no, it's still blonde, my man. Yeah, we're still full force.
I think you're stuck with it now.
Oh no, that's not how it works. Because then if you try to extend the stay, and then the stay's not good, you look real dumb. It did its job. We're good. I'm gonna show up at the first event. It might be blue. Maybe I'll go blue. Maybe I'll do some kind of other color. But the bleach hair, I don't know. Gonna have to pull it out sometime special.
Yeah, like next year for World Cup.
100% wins over there.
He's
Yeah,
dying
not
that
good. The
shit
pictures
again.
look cool. I feel like the pictures look cool at least. I'm like, damn, that's different. You know, Marcelo never has any flair. I don't ever do anything cool on the field. So, you know, I got to play the one and have bleached hair at the event. Fucking spectacular, dude.
Yeah. You lost your Defensive Player of the Year nomination off all that.
Yeah.
I did. I'm okay with that.
It's
I mean, it kind of,
defense,
you know,
offense, just
yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
good. It's interesting that obviously
You
I love
attacked
what
it.
Quinn's doing, and but the whole defensive player, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. I get it, right? But it's just such a hard offense
That's
versus
Marcelo.
defense. And,
Marcelo is
I know
like
who he
this.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know he's out there playing defense, but that's because he's scared. Right? He's just hiding in the back, like I said earlier.
Jesus. Worked last year.
Yeah.
Oh man, stop it! Just
come on,
imagine,
come to my trap.
Yeah.
Come into my trap.
The problem is that these are happening right in front of me. I get the front row seat to be like, "Oh, don't do it, Billy!" Oh, I feel like I'm the one getting shot.
What's it been like coaching Billy Bernaccia? He's one of arguably, unarguably the best players that's ever played the snake side. What's that been like coaching Billy?
Billy's been great, right? I don't think people is given enough credit where his game has evolved, because Billy spent the first 5 years of his career, and especially back then, you're running snake off the break every point, right? He spent the majority of his career in the snake, so the game has evolved to the point where we're just so much better shooters off the break and stuff, where you just can't run. You have to learn how to gunfight. And so we got to this point in maybe 2014, 15, 16, where Billy went, in my opinion, to one of the top snake guys, and he got leveled out a little bit, and he still was absolutely just dominant in the snake. But out of the snake, there were some players, Chad George, Keith Brown, Mouse, that had these gun skills that it was difficult for him. He wasn't winning those battles. And so that's where I think a lot of players with their ego, because I had to go to Billy and say, look, dude, you got to learn how to gunfight. You have to, in order to get where you need to be, you're going to, you got the snake down. You got to learn how to gunfight. And it was tough for him. He's out there gunfighting and he's losing gun battles. And then he would kind of in practice be like, I'm losing these fights. I don't want to get shot. I want to get the snake. I want to fight. I want to wait for the window. I want someone put away and then go. And I'm like, no, dude, I don't give a shit. You go out there and gunfight and lose battle after battle until you get it. I'm not going to yell at you. No one, I want you to go out here and just battle your life off. And if you get shot every point, I'm okay with it. And Billy, some players would have, not taken the criticism or not looked inside and say, you know what, I do need to get better at this. And they would just kept doing their same old, whatever, what's working for them. But Billy attacked it head on. And now Billy is just so much better. He's shooting people out of his bunkers. He's able to play the spot, but he put the work in, and he kind of allowed himself to be open to getting shot, to be getting, paying the price and that kind of stuff. And he worked on it. He put the work in. And a lot of people, veterans that far into their career, are not willing to make that shift. And so I really commend him. And at this point, he's lethal. He really is. There's only so many of those guys. The fact that we have one, we're talking about losing Archie, one of the best players ever, amazing leader, all this kind of stuff. And I'm saying, I think someone else is going to step up. It is what it is, right? I'll tell you what, if I have to lose Archie or I have to lose Billy, I'm holding on to Billy for dear life, because there just isn't those guys out there. We lose Billy, and how do I replace him? All right. Keith Brown, Mouse.
You find a Mikey Urena.
Yeah. And then you got to work a way up with Urena, and Urena's coming up big, but he's not Billy yet. He got the best of, I don't want to take anything away from Mikey, because trust me, there's a trophy on his shelf that isn't on mine because of what he did. But as far as the consistency and the experience, I think Mikey is showing that potential of getting there. Absolutely. But, I think Dynasty knows firsthand how many guys have Matty Kling
and tried to fill that role. Yeah, it's rare. Yeah,
and it's a hard thing to fill. And so And Billy he's 35 years old, and he's able to go every point off the break. And I think there's I think it's just fine, not to like rag on Archie or something, but Archie got injured, and he's kind of complaining a little bit about, I'm not 100%. I don't want to be out there. I'm not 100%. And Billy just kind of looked at me and he's like, "There's 100%. Like I've been playing at 85%. I'm ding this. I'm injured that." But Billy's just gonna keep going. It's just one of those. He's a specimen, and there's not a lot of guys like that out there.
He's got that. Yeah, Billy's got that East Coast fire. I remember watching. I came up like when the Hurricanes were running around and playing against those guys in divisional paintball when I was on Twisted Factory way back in the day. But he's gonna get it. He's gonna go for it. And in the last 4-5 years, his game has just doubled and doubled and doubled, and he has reached that premier level where he's processing, he's putting points together, he's winning gunfights, he's moving, navigating the field, and really playing that top level snake side ball.
He just keeps getting better. And then the other thing too is his communication it's great. And it used to be, that wasn't a part of his game. I think he's just constantly evolving. And that's kind of what the new snake players have to be, is these elite guys. Like, it's not about just going off the break and crawling down and shooting guys. And it just isn't anymore. And so he just keeps evolving and keeps getting better. And I'm blessed to have Billy on the team.
Yeah, he's rad. Shout out to Billy. And same with Rain Dance, Rainey. I was just on the phone with him today, actually, chatting with him.
Rainey's fired up.
Me and Rainey are actually, people probably think that we don't like each other. We're literally, chatting on the phone this afternoon. But yeah, he's a phenomenal paintball player too. That guy is something special, man. The way he processes points and puts it together, and his grittiness in the game is something that you need that kind of stuff in a player, and having that energy on the team has definitely shifted the chemistry within X Factor, I would have to imagine.
100%. I can't give him enough credit. It's definitely, just straight up, we had a drought of wins until Rainey came aboard. It's that juice, that boost, that just, and honestly, Rainey knows this. Like, everyone, he's a fiery, opinionated guy.
Oh yeah, of course.
95 times out of 100, if not more, Rainey is correct, right? Sometimes Rainey's wrong, and that's where. But Rainey knows he's right so much that it's kind of a battle there, and but just getting to work with him and learn from him. I might be his coach, but I'm learning from Rainey. He's just one of those dudes. He's a special person, and there's not a lot. I would have to. I don't think I'll ever meet anything like Rainey. Like, he's just
no, of course not.
Quite an individual, but I love talking to him. I just about just anything, just picking his brain. He's just a rare human, and everybody's got his quirks, and he's definitely he's a quirky guy, and then when he parted ways with Impact. You'd have to, he played so great. How could they ever get rid of him? And it's just, and I think when of your first event, Bart looked at me, he's like, "He's your problem now." And it's just stuff like that. And I would say, yeah, Rainey has some problems, but he's a blessing. He just really is. It's just, you just have to be able to swallow your own ego and work how to manage, with someone that is also, just, he knows it, right? Sometimes I'm wrong and Rainey's right, and I have to go into the situation knowing it. And there has been some friction, and sometimes I'm right and he's wrong, and he's got to learn to accept that as well. But there's that give and take that you cannot, with a player like Rainey, come from a different, approach of, I'm always right, you're the player, get in line. It's just not going to work out. And it shouldn't. We're better because he's there. And we're better because he is who he is, but he's somebody different. I'll tell you what,
dude, he's awesome. We were, we actually played on Cap together recently, not too long ago. And we were just running rackets out there and having fun, playing paintball. Like you said, having really good conversation just about, there's so much going on in this paradigm that we're a part of, living on planet Earth is a really miraculous thing, and we should all be very grateful for that, because it is a miracle. This whole entire thing that we have going on is like, what? There's so much, and he's really tuned in, and he's someone that you definitely can rely on out there on the paintball field to make moves happen and make things go your way for your paintball team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at him. This one, I don't think it's pretty well known that Rainey's been battling some injuries for a while now, and then this season, especially. And we were going into this tournament, and just I guess in Chicago, I don't know if people know, but like Rainey didn't really play in the finals in Chicago, and he had played. And I put this on me, nothing to take away from Dynasty at all, but we had that gap I talked about between the semis and the finals, and Rainey had been fighting a back injury all through practice, all through the prelims, all through the quarters, all through the semis. Well, in the semis at the very end, he jumped up and came down wrong and tweaked his back more. But Rainey had been fighting this injury all along. And so in my head, I'm like, Rainey's going to play. I just am assuming that he's going to play through it. He's been dealing with this injury. And so I spend that whole 3-hour break completely focused on our game plan on Dynasty. What's Dynasty doing? How are we going to beat it? And we get to the finals, and Rainey tries to go out there, and he pulls up his gun, and he almost shoots meter because he can't get it up all the way, and then gets shot because he literally cannot lift his gun up. This is his first point in the finals.
Damn.
And he's like, I physically can't go. And he just couldn't. His body, it shut down on him.
Damn, that's crazy.
And I didn't have a contingency plan in the moment to switch on because I just assumed he was going to play. And so then I was like, all right. And so I'm repositioning. Okay, well, Rainey can't play. So Archie, you're playing the back center now, which he had been playing the 2. And I got Shorty playing the 1, and then Billy playing the 2. And then they're playing every point. And we don't have our speed on the outside with Billy, and Billy's now playing the 2, which I commend him with doing a good job on, but it's just not his style. And it was just chaos, and there's not that those matches go differently because you're in single deck, and the match ends. And then, at one point Randy tries to go back out there, but he can't even get his pack on. He's fighting. I'm like, dude, just shut it down because he's a competitor. And I'm like, fuck, man, I could have done this differently. I could have, if I would have done the time in between the semis and the finals to sit down and really talk to Rainey and how are you feeling and have a backup plan. If this guy can't go, what do I do differently? Then maybe we could have put a better game plan together and we could have played to our strengths a bit more. So that's just kind of how it went through there. And so then after that tournament, we weren't really 100% sure either way whether Rainey was going to play Cup or not. Just no real clue. First weekend rolls around, and Rainey's feeling sick. We'd gone to Billy's wedding. TJ got diagnosed with COVID, so he didn't come to the first practice. Rainey's feeling sick. He gets a negative test, but he's like, look, I'm just not feeling good. It's not worth the risk. So Rainey didn't even come to the first practice. And he comes down to the second practice, and I think he played 4 points. So he plays 3 points up the center. And, we'd already played 3 days, 4 days, on the field, and he's coming into that, and so he doesn't play particularly well those 3 points because he's playing against people that have been playing it for multiple days. And then he plays the 4th point, has a great point, but hurts himself again on that point. So he shuts it down. So he's going in the tournament. He's played 4 points. And then we start, and we're just not really, doesn't play on the Thursday practice. And we're like, we're just saving him. And as good as Rainey, we saved him. But Rainey is so good that all the practice that everyone else did on that layout, Rainey had 4 points, didn't play the first couple matches in the prelims. And then we just let him out of the cage when we had to. And he just plays like he does. That is so difficult. There's few people that can do that. Mm-hmm. And it's just, he's a special guy, but it's just because he is smart enough to be able to watch and process the information that takes a lot of other players having to play their way through it. because you take 90% of the other pro players out there and put them in that situation, no practice, halfway through the tournament, or go out there and play.
There's no way.
They're having to learn it for the first time.
Yeah.
Rainey's just smart enough to process it from watching, and he already knows what to do.
He's playing poker out there. The guy's a master card player as well. People out there don't know that Rainey will take you down in some cards.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I've won some good money after being one of Rainey's backers of buying some of his action in these poker tournaments. It's my other favorite pastime. Oh, Rainey, you're playing a tournament? You want to? Yeah. I get a little bit of the action and some of the sweat in there as well. Just
absolutely.
All right, I'll take 15% of your winnings for 15% of the entry fee. Let's go. So yeah, we got a special team, man. I'm happy, and I think Meter is just a rising star, and I think Jesse, it's just we got tools, man. We really do. Jesse's he's ready, dude. He's primed. He's there. He's arrived. Meter's just continuing to do what he's doing and just being one of the top guys out there. And then I really think that we found a diamond in the rough in Tom Guest. I just think that's one nasty Canadian out there. So I'm excited to get a full year with Tom.
Yeah, and of course we had the shooter Colt on the show, dude. Colt is a beast out there.
And Colt's motivated. I think that little break has been good for him. So
yeah,
I know. I cross my fingers that he's at all the tournaments next year. He intends to be. So
yep. He's saying he's full time. Yeah. He's ready to rock.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to y'all's podcast with Colt on audio, and you guys asked the question to Colt, "Are you planning on playing next year?" And I don't know if you guys know this, but the audio cuts off. So he shakes his head. Just literally the whole time, you just don't hear him say yes. And so it's only bleep in the audio the whole time. Yeah. And then, weird. But then you're like, okay, that's good. So I'm able to put it together in context clues that he said yes. But then immediately so I go over to the YouTube, line up the video to see what did he say? And then literally right before he says yes, he kind of looks down and then he shakes his head and the audio goes. And so I'm rewinding it 5 times, trying to get a read. Does he really mean yes? So I messaged him. I was like, hey, so you look down. Is that are you just a bad poker player? What does that mean? And he's like, no, dude, I'm in. I was like,
dude, that's it's a bummer. I wonder why that happened with our audio. That's not
just I don't know what the universe is saying there, but it was just the smallest little glitch that I was like, oh man,
we pay extra to have it mastered after we do these. We have a mastering system that we run it through as well. So that's interesting. Okay, good to know. Good feedback. I like this.
Good feedback.
Yeah,
good feedback. Yeah, that's you guys kind of went through a similar thing. Is that it's so funny the parallels that I can consistently just draw between X Factor and Dynasty. And you guys going through, injuries and new players coming on, bringing, new players up that are becoming stars, all this, all the stuff. So I'm sure you're excited to have everybody healthy, have a full off season with the team, with the new group, the younger guys or the newer guys you guys added, and go into next season.
Yeah.
Fire.
We got bodies
for sure.
And if TJ gets out there on the field, people watch out, because that's, people don't realize that I think he's going to be ready. And it's one of those TJ is so good and it's been so hard to watch him not be able to be out there. And he's just chomping at the bit. And I just that. He's going to be a huge addition once we get him out there with consistency.
Yeah, I think so.
How's he doing? Is the process going okay?
It's progressing. It's definitely progressing. And so honestly, he feels like he could have played Cup, but we were just let's put it towards 2022. And, right now we have the depth to be able to make that call and kind of keep him on IR for a little bit longer. But TJ, and that's the other thing is what a blessed with such a mind in TJ. And that's a lot of what this knowledge is. People don't realize that there's not that many coaches that have made it to a final, as coaching team. Well, TJ is one of those guys. When he was hurt on AC as a coach, he got them to the finals. And so I get to, he's calling all the plays, he's calling the lines, he knows what it takes. So I get to pick that brain as well. So it's we're we're putting together pieces, and I have to be open to, um, other opinions and people that I respect. And I'm definitely not, I think I've been doing this for a long time. I've been coaching for 10 years, but I definitely have to remind myself to be open to these other perspectives, because these other people have been putting just as much into it, just on the field. But there's a lot of brilliant minds, and on Dynasty, on Heat, on our team, on Impact. And you kind of got to not be that guy that, I know what's best. No, I don't want to let that information in, because it's good information if you seek it. But if you turn those receptors off and you're just resistant, and I'm not saying I haven't been, I've made that error in the past, then you're missing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's key, man. Absolutely. When you played paintball, what was your jersey number?
All right, so this is kind of a funny story. So I started out as 5, because it was just young, like, so those are my sports numbers. I played some football, lacrosse, and stuff like that. And then on X Factor, I think I was 05, because that's just like one of those numbers that I don't. That was like you would see that. I don't know. There was like some hip hop culture or something. That's like one of those numbers you would see on like the FUBU jerseys and stuff. That 05 was just like a normal thing. So I rocked that on X Factor. And then in like 2018, I started playing 10-man with Infamous, 2018 or 2019. And so I went over, and Ryan Rodarte was on Infamous at the time, and he was number 5. And I was like, fuck, I got to change my number. But I'm ready. Your number is like, it's important to you, right?
Yeah.
So I talked to him. He's like, no, I'm 5. Like, you're the new guy. You can't do it. So I switched it to 25, which is, me and my wife got married on the 25th. So it's kind of like a dual purpose there, as far as like, now I can remember my anniversary better.
Yeah.
And it's still a close number to me. And literally Rodarte retired like the next event. So like literally like he's like, no, you can't be 5, that's mine. And then he's gone. And I'm like, so do I switch back? And then I'm like, well, I did this for my wife. And so I'm at 25. So now I'm stuck between 2 zones.
You can't change it now with all that, those hands all packed up. You know what I'm saying? You're 25 for life.
25. Sending it.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
I like it, man. Well, shoot, dude, Ryan, I feel like we should get into our iconic question.
There we go.
Let's do it. Let's be icons.
Let's be icons. Yeah. Shout out to Quinn, obviously. All right. You were one of the architects in modern calls and communication on the field. What led to the use of the more complex calls you implement with your team?
Okay. Yeah. And I think there's obviously every team, and it's funny, I've had this conversation with Quinn. It's because we were kind of discussing, it'd be interesting to see where certain calls come from and try to track them back, like the lineage of them. And then like, because they disperse. And I feel like this happens a lot, where teams are like, hey, you stole our calls. And like, no, we came up with that. And like, no, we did. It happens all the time in this sport. But there's certain things that, like, communication, it's all about, you guys have spoken on it. It's processing the important information as quick as possible, because it's all about quick processing at this level. That's what the difference is. And so it's always trying to have that conversation. And so it's going through codes, and our team, like, we've come up with calls, and a lot of them are used by other teams. But we're taking from everyone. I feel like everyone's kind of borrowing from everyone. It's like the Ricky Lucy call that almost every team uses, that came from AC Dallas. And we've taken it back. Right. And because it helps, it's huge. Right. Well,
totally.
Meter was on AC Dallas, so they're giving us shit that we stole it from them. Well, Lucy is Meter's mom. That's where that call came from. He was on AC Dallas at the time when the call came. So like we can claim it back. Right. But you look into this, but it's like processing information. The one that, the red alert call, this is something that there was a field layout in maybe 2018, 17 that we were just getting burned constantly by, like, it was a hidden snake, and you couldn't see that someone went in there and that guy would just shoot everybody. So we're trying to come up with a call for it. And like, so I came up with like, well, let's just call it red alert. It just means somebody is over there and we don't know where it is. And we start using the call. Well, at the time, Archie was playing on, I think he was probably the Gold State King. I don't know when he played. What was that team Marcelo with? It was like him and Cali. Skinny Kevin was coaching. It was like a Russian team that had two.
Yeah. Oh my
Amelia,
God.
Amelia,
Amelia.
something.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Amelia.
if he was playing with Amelia at the time or Golden State, but basically Archie then goes and takes that call, which I think gave us a huge edge at the time because it's such a crucial thing that people just weren't necessarily using that, to my knowledge, that it was lost. So he starts, but he takes it over there and he teaches it to his team because it gives you such an advantage to win, and Archie wants to win. So then Amelia starts using it. So then Callie takes it and he brings it to Infamous because it's such a crucial call. So now Infamous is using it. I'm like, shit, you shouldn't have done that. But Archie's trying to win when he's over there. And then he's using it on Golden State. Now Dynasty uses it. And then now once Dynasty's using it, now everyone knows it and it just starts spreading, right? And these how these things that you innovate, you have to be constantly innovating because everyone's going to catch up to you, right? And so it's just, that's kind of my mindset of how you don't want to overdo it and have too many calls for everything. So it's really processing the ones that are most crucial. And it's always a battle on our team, like when we're trying to implement something new and like, well, it's too much. But it's like, no, dude, like you got to go deep. The more you have, the better you'll be. And people like our guys, a lot of times, I'm sure everyone's a little bit resistant to changing things at these new calls. But once you start practicing it enough, you'll get it. You just got to buy in.
That's right.
But that's it. You know, that's my mindset on it is, trust me, communication is so crucial. It's so crucial. And that may be my biggest fear if Archie does move on is that he's a quarterback and that's a hard spot to fill. And that's the difference, I think, at the top level is those communicators, those quarterbacks, the role that you play, Marcelo, the Tyler, like, you know, I think Todd did a really good job of moving you back because you can do that so well rather than just being the one all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, that's the difference, right? So getting those communications, like, it's everything. So as you just got to innovate, you got to be looking for it. You got to be looking to get an edge.
That's right.
It's always about finding an edge, and you can't be complacent.
Absolutely, man. And you got to be hungry for that. You know, it doesn't just come by happenstance. You know, it's out of a manifestation. You're creating that.
Yeah. Everyone's getting better. That's just paintball. Everyone's constantly getting better. The argument of if we're better than the players from 10 years ago is not even a question. Everyone is getting better every year. Tyler this year beats Tyler last year. It's what we're doing. And so as a coach, I have to be doing the same, and I think some coaches they're not thinking that way. I think Rusty was the first one to kind of show me like the mindset of innovation when I think maybe it was around 2012 that back then, and we're still in penalty boxes. It still plays out now, but it played out more back then. When you had a guy in the box, the strategy that was used by everybody almost was you're starting out 4-on-5, break out soft, and try to shoot someone off the break. That was the strategy that everyone used and try to even it up and burn the thing. And Rusty innovated go hard at them, right? Because if you win that point, it is such a momentum shift that it's worth it, right? And he did that. He actually, out of his heart, told us that. He didn't, hey guys, I really think you, X Factor, you guys should work on this. It'll be better if you do it. And I think it was right before the World Cup we won. I don't know. I don't know why he did it, but he did it. And it helped us. I could get into the story of what happened there, but we won a semifinal game to get us into the finals based on a 4-on-5 breakout where we broke out risky. And run Dynasty the series. So, I guess it paid off for Rusty, but it's one of the situations he innovated. He didn't sit back and say, this is this is what you do. The way I came up with how I treat the buzzer, and how I manage the clock. I didn't learn that from anyone else. I studied, I looked at tape, I ran numbers, I processed statistically what's going to work more out, and then I innovated that, and to now it is widely used across the pros. And I have divisional players come up to me all the time and say, I do it like you, man. I do it. It's just like, it's that's what when people seek me out, that's what I, am paintball famous for, and that's because I look for something different, how to be better. And I think there's coaches, they're out there being innovators that are trying to get better. And then there's other people that are watching what other coaches are doing successful, and then they're following their playbook behind it. But the operative word there is that they're always going to be behind it. You have to be actively trying to do better. You can't rest on your success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Always moving forward and looking for new avenues to create in. Absolutely.
Yeah, my goodness, man. I mean, that is just a massive golden nugget there. What's funny about that too, though, is we talked about earlier in the show, the how deep you go in that. So now it's like when you play X Factor, it's like, oh, penalty point. Okay, they're gonna run. So then at what point do you maybe not do that and you try to do something else? Like it's because everybody is watching. But you're right. I know when I coach divisional teams, that's definitely a way that I do it. Hey, if we have a penalty point, we're either going to win really fast or we're going to lose really fast. We're out of this. We're, as long as it's not game point, we're out of this either way. So let's surprise them. And you're right. When you do win those, it is such a momentum shift.
And that's the thing. I'm not afraid to put that out there because Rusty innovated it and it was adopted by paintball as a whole. Everyone knows now what you're supposed to do. Now, sometimes I do the flip side because I do want to throw that curveball out there, but
have to.
It is paintball 101 at this point, what you're supposed to do when in those scenarios because of what Rusty came up with. And then I'm sure Rusty was on to the next thing. It's just one of those, you gotta try to be better. It's not all about the standard whatever, because people catch up, and it's always about fighting, trying to get ahead.
His company name is Constant Pursuit. I mean, the company begins if that's
it was a team name back in the day.
Yeah. Dude, I just looked at the Discord. You have so many questions in here.
Oh God,
I was gonna say we gotta get into there.
But one more note on Rusty is going into playing y'all in the finals. I'm really sitting there in our huddle talking. It's like, dude, not only is Kevin putting the work in the whole tournament, Rusty's up there too, guys.
Yeah,
we did have Rusty too.
We have to be knowledgeable of what we're gonna do here, what our strategy is, and we changed a fair amount, and for more or less, Skinny was prepared for it, but we had to adjust because I'm like, Kevin's there and Rusty's there. It's like, you think they don't know what we're gonna do if we do the same thing we did against Heat? Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, he got hired, I think, by a divisional team to coach them. And then was able to also help out Dynasty and their pits as well at the same time. It is a tough job that you and all of the coaches have. Being a coach in the pros is not an easy chore at all. Whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So from PTG World, we got Tag. He's got a question for you. Past or present players, any team, pick starting 5, and he wants to know what your 5 are.
Okay, here we go. I will preface this on players. I'm just going to go errors and the player, but these guys get, right now, I would take 5 guys right now, but I'll kind of mix it up a little bit to be fun. But I want a 2005 Oliver.
Yep.
I gotta have Lasoya in there. Maybe we'll pick a 2003 Pony Boy.
Dude, this team's gonna be insane.
A heater.
It's a wrap.
I need the 2021 Tyler Hardman in there because you get down to a 1-on-2 and you still win.
1-on-3.
Yeah, whatever it needs to be. Marcelo's taking World Cups for me, so I'm not pumping his ego anymore. And then, I don't know. I'll mix it up. I'm not going to take any of my own guys. So I'll take a J-Rab from 2016. And what am I at there? Is that 3 or 4? That's 4?
Yeah.
That's 4. Yeah.
Okay, then I need a 2006 Angels for Goza and the Snake. There I am.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Shout out to Angel. Dude, shout
Yeah, you
out
got all.
to the West Coast. He grew up in, I think, Vallejo. So shout out to the V. He's out there in the Bay Area up there in NorCal.
There
All right.
it is.
Yeah.
That was a
so,
hitter.
All right. From Chris Young, favorite venue you've ever attended?
It's got to be Huntington Beach. I think that's unquestionable.
Yeah, it's special for you guys too.
Yeah, it's special. You know, the 2008 win, the year prior, the 2007. You know, we played Aftermath in the Summer Pro Finals, and we were pro teams at the time. So it was kind of a both the young up and coming teams. Like that was a special one for me as well. And we also got heckled bad there because we're in San Diego playing Aftermath. So that was a special one. And then we won the last Huntington Beach as well in 2000. I don't know, maybe 13, which was, it was a shell of a 2008 win, but it still was special. It's just such a good venue.
Dude, yeah, that tournament was so crazy on the beach. I mean, you had so many people just who go to Huntington Beach to just hang out, that were coming to the tournament. So it was just slam packed out there.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else to top it. I've enjoyed other places to play, Wild World of Sports was cool. Gillette Stadium was cool, but even the Kansas City event, I think obviously that was fun. You played most of the tournament outdoors. So it was, but you got that, the main field was inside of the stadium and you could look up at the screen. We had some, we actually went to overtime against Aftermath and went to one-on-ones and Derek Jordan took down Rainey to send us to the finals. So it was that was a special tournament. I think it was a really fun, cool event. It'd be nice I understand logistically moving around turf and poles and all that kind of stuff is difficult, but I feel like we've lost a lot of like some of the cool factor, and it'd be interesting. We could go all night on this one, so I'll keep it short. But I do think we should find a way, and it's not difficult, in my opinion, to do some one-off pro tournaments where we just have all 20 pro teams go to a location, and a cool location and have a tournament. You're setting up one field. Our biggest viewership is probably from serious divisional players that are playing at the same time when we do right now. So if we want a live audience online or whatever to get the numbers up, we'll just have just the pros play a certain weekend. Financially, it's not as daunting as people would think. We're already paying $3,500 for entry fee. So 3,500 times 20, there's a decent budget right there to work off of, to put up one field, hire a rough crew, get a location. And I think it's just something cool we should do. And it's nothing against the NXL. They do a great job. They are shouldering a responsibility to keep national level divisional paintball alive. But at the same time, by doing that, they're not able to produce the best product for pro paintball. So maybe once a year, the NXL, they're the best in the business. So I would hope that if I could choose, I would want them to be the ones to put this on. And there were some talks about it during COVID and stuff like that. But if not, I think some of us should come together and do it because it's doable. Let's get in a cool venue. Let's make, do something exciting.
There we go. Texas Hammer in the building. He says, badass that you're on the show. Great coach. And then he was saying, if Archie retires, you can just step in there and play because you've been playing great out there on the 10-man field. Easy transition. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah. I'd have to get in a lot better shape. I will say that Tyler was scared. He stayed on the other field, but I suited up. This World Cup, the first day on the layout, we did a 3-day practice with Heat, Infamous, and X Factor. But the first day, Heat was sticking to their system, so they did drills on the other field. So I suited up because I was like, I'm going to get a couple points in. So it's just us versus Infamous. And I planned to play 5 points, and I had so much fun. I played all day. But it was my first time. Yeah, of course. But it was my first time. And honestly, I played the majority of the points. I was like, get out of the way, guys. I'm going. But that was my first time like consistently playing against like pro practice and over a decade. I would say that honestly, I could do it. I would say, I thought a couple more days and I honestly would be kind of at where I needed to be. Maybe not that first day, everything's just a little bit, a hair behind on timing, but I was still out there bunkering people, cheating people, doing what I had to do. Got you Harrison Fry, take it. But yeah. But I think my team is best served with me on the outside of the net. And so I'm going to take one for the team because I tell you what, playing is more fun than coaching. But
oh yeah,
but I got to do what I got to do for the boys.
There we go.
Dude, this is hilarious. I'm going through all the Discord questions. Like 60% of them are about pressing the buzzer, throwing in the towel. Mm-hmm. So much of them are about like the dynamic of that. It's funny.
Ask me the question, I'll answer it differently every time. Yeah, so I really confuse people.
From CB2K, you're known for having the fastest towel throws during the matches. You're the fastest towel thrower in the business.
Who surrenders the fastest?
Yeah, and it seems the team trusts you with these decisions, even though they all have the star playing potential to reverse "quote unquote" lost points. How did you develop this style of play calling? Which I don't know if we kind of discussed that. So that's a good question. Like, how did you develop that?
So I think it's taking a little bit of the same strategy that I think when I talked about Rusty pioneering. But it's more so just statistically me looking at how often does your team win a 3-on-5 and I've had the advantage of having a really good team. So where I can do this, I can roll that dice and say, all right, well, I want more 5-on-5 breakouts.
Yeah.
If I was coaching, I guess I can say this because they're not even a team anymore. If I'm coaching the Outlaws, well, I'm not toweling the point right away because statistically, I think we're probably going to lose a 5-on-5 just as much as a 3-on-5. So I'm not gonna throw in the towel there. So I've had my players have given me the ability to look really smart, and not saying it hasn't burned me, because they got my back and they go out there and often win that next point and make me look like I made the right decision. But I'm making that statistically knowing who I'm playing with. Now I will say my players trust me, but I get yelled at, and I'm worth it. I appreciate it. I don't want my guys out there in a 3-on-5 thinking, oh, blow the horn, or I don't got it. They're out there for a reason because they think they can win a 3-on-5. You have to be playing with that ego. And have I lost us games as much as I've won by maybe going, because there are times I've gone premature. Trust me. Like I've had a little preemie accident more often than not, that I like to admit, but I ride that line, and I like to think that I've done it right more than I've done it wrong, but I've taken my lumps. I've made the wrong call. I've lost matches for our team, and I've won matches for our team. I think when I was younger in my coaching career, I think it was hard for me to accept that my errors cost us a match, right? It's hard to, oh, well, you guys are on the field or whatever, that I put us in a position to lose. But, I think a lot of coaches, like, they have that mindset of like, well, I'm just telling you what to do the first 10 seconds. Well, I can lose a match just like anyone else, and I'm going to make mistakes. If I go out there and make the wrong decision, put the wrong guy in the field, blow the towel at the wrong time, call the wrong play, there's nothing different than that than, Billy going to the snake and engaging in the wrong gunfight and getting shot and losing the point. I lose points. He loses points. I win them. He wins them. I'm just another participant in the game. And I have to be willing to, make that decision, with my gut, just like you guys, whether or not to make that bump or not. Yeah. But it's just part of it. I think I have a big responsibility, but I trust my guys. And I think, Greenspan, he used to I would go back and watch our games. At any time he would commentate with Maddie, he was very critical of me toweling points early. He was very critical of it. And he would say, him and Maddie would get into it, and he would say, it's because he doesn't trust his guys. He doesn't trust his guys to win that 3-on-5. He doesn't have trust in them. But I've always argued it's because I do trust my guys. I trust my guys that we're going to go win the next 2 points. Let's just not take this statistical disadvantage and hope for the low percentage win. Let's go. I believe we have 2 high percentage, wins coming right behind it.
And you typically will only do this in the last, few minutes or it's not something that I mean, I've seen you do it early in the game as well.
He's pulling the trigger, dude.
No, I know. I've seen him do both.
Yeah.
But it really matters when it's crunch time, and you can't let any more time go off the clock when it starts getting into those moments.
And honestly, sometimes it depends who we're playing and what the matchup I think it is. I'm running. I have my strategy, but it changes based on if I think we're overmatched on a team or equally matched. And honestly, I am often doing it from the get. If we're down, I'm trying to buy every second possible. Like even in the finals, I think I blow it. Typically, you watch coaches, the very first point, they're not blowing it no matter what, because maybe that team has a dirty hang. And that is a risk I'm running. Think about Chicago, where Archie goes through to tie the game and we had a dirty hang. And it costs us, there against us. Like if you flip the script and maybe we would have shot Ryan Greenspan doing the same thing, and I don't towel it, and he's got a hit on him. I'm not giving the opportunity for those rare dirty tanks to happen because I'm trying to save seconds, and that's a point of contention for what I'm doing. That is a valid critique. Rainey's giving me that critique, and he's not wrong. I'm not allowing for those dirty hangs to happen. But what I'm doing is that I'm trying to buy 50. If we're down, I'll get 15 seconds off of this point, and then I'll towel it and get 5 seconds off of this point. And now I got 20 seconds. I got a minute here. Well, now we're down by 3, and we have 2 minutes left, opposed to being down by 3 with 30 seconds left. I'm willing to run that. And we've had a lot of comebacks. All right. We came back on heat twice at World Cup. It's, and if I'm not doing that, then the time's not there. So, I'm running, there's pros and cons. I'm running the risk, but that's my belief in my players that if the more 5-on-5 breakouts we get, are higher chances to win, is what I run by. It's what I live by, live and die by it. Right. And sometimes we die by it. We lose tournaments more than we win them. Just is what it is.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. We got Steve from SoCal Blaze. He says, Ryan, being a partner in social media agency, how do you see IG, Facebook footprint in paintball in the future? Any ideas on that? And also, how come you haven't aged since 2008? Still look like a young kid. Much love.
Yeah, much love. Yeah. Yeah. The age thing is always fun, but I'm getting there a little bit, but it's definitely, I've looked young my whole life and thank my mother for it. I hated it when I was 21. I love it now. So, but to the other side of it. I own a business in the social media space, for small businesses. So I've been involved in social media marketing for more than 10 years now. And for paintball, I think, obviously we're really turning an interesting corner right now, with the reels and what Rye Guy is doing, and other people are kind of getting behind it, and verbal and all this stuff. And I'm glad to see that. I'm very glad to see. My outlook is very positive. My outlook, I don't think this is a whole nother thing, but I think the industry as a whole and these major players, they need to do a better job of. We just haven't been running ads as an industry. Like we just don't. It needs to happen. Like I own an agency. I'm very well versed in this, and I've kind of thrown in the towel on working with paintball companies. I tried, a decade ago, and I've moved past it. I got my paintball life and my work life, but there was always the struggle of advertising, and that is what social media is. It's and the whole real things, and it's very counterintuitive to my argument here. But targeted ads is how we will get these matches in front of the people we want. We should take a clip, take a full match. Everyone talks about the esports crossover. Let's take a match and then let's run $1,000 ad spin behind one match, World Cup Finals, X Factor, and Dynasty, to people that play esports or have certain interests, and we will reach millions of targeted people, right, for $1,000. That, and no one in the industry is willing to make that investment because they don't see the direct return. And there isn't a direct return. It's a long-term return. It's a long game, and we've spoken on this, but the in marketing, we have to be willing to do the long game, and we all benefit. There's money spent and wasted in so many other areas that somebody needs to just buy in and say, look, we are going to take our sport, a piece of content, and get it in front of the right people. And the only way to do it is to pay to do it. On the real side, we get into it like, Tyler, you got a video right now with 15 million views. Shorty's got one of him misfilling a pod, 25 million views or something, right?
Yeah.
And you go through these comments, and there's pros and cons here. It's great because you have a lot of people being like, what game is this? What sport is this? Like, it's awesome to see that we're exposing these people. But a lot of these millions of views are international views in countries where paintball isn't even a thing. And hopefully that sparks something. But there's 20 million views. But the only way to target those views is through ads. These companies need to figure it out. And it's not that hard. I do it. Kyle Berry from ML Kings, he does it for a living. There's people that it's not that hard to execute, and it is something that the industry as a whole needs to, they either independently or collectively put together a marketing budget and spend some money on the sport to get it in front of the right people for exposure. Because if we're just hoping for organic exposure over time, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about motocross? I've always thought like maybe paintball and motocross would be like a great match.
I think so as well. That's a great match. I have, I help out. I run some ads for our paintball park in San Antonio. I run ads in two groups: to mothers of children that are ages 11 to 14. And there's a big military community. So I have a specific video of MagFed paintball that I go to the military guys. And that thing just cha-ching rakes in because it's grabbing people with similar interests in the military. And here's our park. And those guys come out. They get exposed to paintball. Where is this? And they go and do it. So it's really simple. I mean, I will, in 2017, Planet Eclipse spearheaded a really smart, good campaign. They hired Dan Napoli and Brad Mon, and Dan brought myself into it. And it was really cool to see. Valken got involved, HK, everyone got involved. It was a no profit scenario. They filmed a paintball commercial targeted at moms to bring their families out. So they got the best in the business, paintball crossover, come film this video. I think if anyone wants to see it, you can go to like playpaintball.tv. And I hope it's still live for people to see. Really good commercial. We cast it. We got people to go do it. And then these companies came together, sponsored it, paid for it. I think Eclipse, bared the brunt of the expense. But I was really discouraged when it got all said and done. There was no advertising support. So we have this thing. It's online probably still to this day at playpaintball.tv. And I think it's one of the most powerful, promotion for recreational paintball, which is where professional paintball and tournament paintball comes from. It stems from recreational. But why there's no advertising strategy behind it, it just blew my mind. And so it's been tried, and I think executed well. People need to put their money in the industry to try to get it in front of more eyeballs, because if not, we're just showing content to ourselves in an echo chamber.
Well, hopefully you got some money. We need it, bro.
Yeah, we do.
Bring it on in. And playpaintball.tv, it looks like it still is there. Well, it sounds like Sounds like you got it all figured out. So we just need you to do everything, and then we'll be just
be
fine.
consulted. Yeah, and I don't have anything. And hopefully, like as I'm getting more involved financially in paintball with Archie, myself, with our company project, and I hope one day to be in a position to where that long game makes sense. I think it's hard for me to be
Why
throwing
don't
my
you
own.
get involved with the league and start doing some of this stuff?
I think we're getting there, right? We're starting a
Yeah.
company, and we're looking at it. We're talking about trying to, start advertising with Go Sports, and I don't see an immediate return there, but
No, I
I
mean
want to
like with the
support Go Sports.
NXL, like
Well,
is
exactly,
that
yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to, yeah. It's just trying to make things work out. But I think me and Archie spoke about it today. But there's the old guard that are in their positions now, and social media wasn't really a thing in marketing when they were kind of starting their companies and growing their companies. And now there's a lot of people like PTG and you guys, myself, Archie, Meter's got a company, Spica and Mouse have a company, or, it's all these people. We're at some point down the road, it's going to be up to us to grow paintball, and actually not this like hashtag grow paintball people have been talking about forever. And it's just nothing changes, and they're not really investing in growing paintball. They're investing in protecting, controlling their piece of the pie. I think hopefully the rest of us can come up together and know a way to really understand that we need to invest in paintball for paintball to actually be there and grow. And I think, hopefully I think a lot like Hormesis, like they're, people are working together. I think it's great to see. And I think that's what we're so small. And I'm excited about the future, as more of us start to collaborate rather than compete. And what's grow that pie, then I think it's what's going to be best.
Yeah, well, it can't be done without the harmonics of everybody. I mean, old guard, new guard, medium guard, every guard, for the paintball world to grow, it has to be us as a unification of the sport. And then, that's the only way it'll, and I don't know that it's not doing that already. Paintball is bigger right now in this moment than it's ever been. I think we're pretty safely saying that. There's a real buzz around the sport. Kids love paintball. It's it's a techie digital type of game, which is going to play really well into the future. And it's up to all of us to make it the best thing that we possibly can and shed light, in the right areas, and make sure that the game itself is still fun to play, and that people are out there, getting it, playing paintball.
Heck yeah.
Yep, 100%. Man, I forgot who asked the last question. I forgot if that was me or you. I think it was me.
Okay.
Is it not? I don't remember.
If you got one, let it rip.
I'm done with the towel questions though. We've covered all of that, and actually you've given us great insight to that. So last question I have is from our guy, Big Daddy Dog the Z-Main. On a scale of awesome to amazing, how great of a job did your pod runner do at World Cup?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah.
So I assume this was him.
I don't know. It might have been his son. My mom and like Meter's mom, they're all in the stands, and they found a fan that had driven in. I think it was his birthday, young kid, maybe 10, 12. And I feel sorry for not remembering his name, but we get in that, Sunday World Cup. I have so much, I can't take any more input. I'm all output. And so we introduced, signed his jersey, and they asked, if he can come pit. And we had him back there. We had gave a kid a good experience. His family was back there. And so that might have been it. So, so amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Awesome.
That is the best. When you get just the people who love paintball or love your team, and they're in there in the pits, a part of the chemistry, and it's a timeless memory that they will never forget, whether it's helping out with, the pods or whatever it is, getting us cleaned in air or whatever helps, it's something that we all share together. And I know it changes every tournament we go to. You have you have your crew from this part of the country and this part of the country, and they all come out and help out, which is really cool to see. All righty. We got another question. Let's see what we got here. We got Kalen, top 3 paintball coaches of all time.
Okay.
And also what's your favorite music you listen to?
All right. So top 3 coaches. I think, honestly, it's gonna be hard for me to do 3, but Paul Richards was, the ultimate innovator. I got to spend a special year with Paul, and just hands down one of the best. Just and his ability to connect with players and instill belief in them and confidence, it was special. So Paul was just a special guy. And I think similarly, I've never gotten to spend much time with him. And I studied him a little bit, but Shane Pistana, what he did, and just hearing what his players say about him and the success he had as a player, a coach, even getting back out there as an older player, and just watching, how difficult that is and how quickly the gears must spin in Shane's head, and hearing Shane talk about it. Definitely, very special. And then it's difficult for me after that as to really, I have a lot of respect for a few people, but I will say that Rusty was someone that I looked to for a long time to learn from, and kind of to study, and the Russian coaches. I'm going more than 3, but the Russian coaching staff, you just can't. That's amazing. And I think people don't know their names as much and all this kind of stuff. But as far as coaching goes, without the Russians, coaching isn't what it is now. The Russians pretty much showed why you need coaching is because they were able to dismantle teams just through coaching.
I know. I miss seeing all of them at the tournaments. It's can't wait to have them back at the events.
You got a couple of them on your team.
Yeah, I love them. They're amazing. All right, so Welshie 3304. What is it going to take to get over that hump? In the finals, he's saying for next season. Is it a personal thing or what's going on that we can get over the hump in the finals? Yeah.
For sure. And it's an interesting one too. It's difficult. X Factor traditionally coming up, we weren't a team that got to the finals a lot, but we were a team that cashed in when we did. And so, I think our first 4 finals, we won 3 out of 4. And the first one, Professional Fires, we lost. So we got second, then first. And then we went on 15, 16, we lost a couple to Impact, and then we won the one. So it's to me, what it comes down to in those moments is composure. And you guys have spoken on it. It's just different. You go into single deck from the start, and it's really just being composed and not letting that moment be bigger than you. And just, you don't want to be doing different things in the finals because it's the finals. You got there for a reason. The game is the same between the nets. Yeah, it's a little bit louder. You're playing the other best team there, but it comes down to the composure in those moments to do the right thing and not be doing different things just because it's the finals. I think these last 3 losses to Dynasty are largely because of that. I think that they're more composed than we are in those moments, in those, as we detailed before, some of those momentum kind of we're winning by 3. Oh no, we're losing by, those back and forth things that we're letting get to us, where the same things are happening in Dynasty in their pit. They're just, in my opinion, and outside looking in, a little bit more composed. And I think that has a lot to do with the experience. Alex Ryan and Yosh have won more tournaments than most people have played. So a finals match to them it's just another game. And I think us on X Factor, going to this last one, we knew it was that composure was lacking. And we spent a whole lot of time talking about in between the semifinals and the finals. All right, guys, it's just composure. It's just, we got to be composed. We can't let the moment be bigger. And us just continuing to hit on it in that moment, in my opinion, in retrospect, it almost put that seed of doubt in your head that, we got it. The only reason we lost last time because they're more composed. And we're thinking about how we're going to be more composed rather than thinking about, hey, it's just another game. Let's just go win. We're putting added pressure on us. So, and I've seen it from both perspectives. I've seen Frazies speech to Dynasty right before the finals, when he's just, it's a beautiful speech, right? It's almost Oliver-esque. And he's, you know, we want to win. Everyone, even they secretly want us to win. You know, he's just dropping that so much positivity and then you go to our speech and we're doing what we think is best, but we're talking about, guys, it's just about composure. Remember what happened last time, and just those types of things. And so we're carrying it in there. Mm-hmm. So I think we're learning those lessons. It's all about lessons, right? And I think we're learning from the losses, and we're going to be better for it. And I think even going into this last one, you know, we're saying, you know, we know, like, and I'm telling the guys, like, it's just another match. Don't do anything differently. But then I'm pulling guys to the side, and I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but I have guys tell me, we can't lose to him again. I physically won't let it happen. We can't lose 3 times in a row, you know. And in Colt, to his benefit, I sat at home and I watched us lose. That's why I'm here. I watched them beat us the last 2 times, and I came here for this moment to beat them. Well, all these things going on, it's people putting all this outside pressure and making this game something that is just another game. Mm-hmm. It's still same amount of time, same all this strategy, and they're mentally approaching it from it's the finals. And I think that's getting us out of the moment and putting something else into it. But that's my perspective. And I think
very interesting.
We're learning that lesson the hard way. And I think hopefully next time we're there, it starts being, we can approach it from, let's just play. Let's just play. We're good enough. We know we can win. Don't worry about any of the rest of the outside.
Yeah. Play.
Also, if the Dynasty magic isn't on the other side of the field, I'm fine with that too.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's a real thing. God damn. It's a real thing. The Dynasty magic, man.
And all honesty,
because they believe it so much, you know, that's why it's a real thing. Cause they have chose, just like what you're talking about, that belief, you know, and they've chose to believe this, and that then it turns it into whatever it is that, you know, that is what it is, but it's a belief. It's a belief. And when you believe in something enough, you're going to create things that, you know, call it what you want, but you believe. And when you really believe in something, then things happen. I don't know how to explain it at all.
This game's about confidence.
It is. You know? It is straight up.
It's about ego and harnessing your ego, right? Letting your ego believe that you can go pull something off, but not letting it be so much that you're out there thinking
it drives you off track. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, it's an amazing game we get to play, and we're so fortunate to be able to play it.
The best. My guys, we just hit the 3-hour mark.
Dude, pin it to the mountaintops.
We went all in. We went all in. We went deep. Yeah, let's get Ryan back on. He's already been on, you know, it'd be a nice little banger.
Yeah, just in and out,
dude,
get out of here.
We can, man, you are you're PTG alumni now.
Let's do it. Get me in the Discord. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, for everybody that doesn't know, we're rolling out this new thing. All the pro players are going to be entering into PTG World. We're going to be sending out links to pro players.
If they want to.
Exactly. If you totally.
Mandatory attendance.
Mandatory. Otherwise, we're going to dunk on you at the event.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to be in there? It's one of the coolest spots ever. The community is so cracking. We've got a lot of people in there who love paintball. And it's, you know, it reminds me of like, I don't know, like PB Nation or something, like in the early days, you know, who knows what it could become, but it's a really fun place to be. And PTG World is cracking. So we're going to be sending out links to any pro players who want to hang out in the community. We have a Discord chat room, and we're all hanging out in there.
And coaches. So
and coaches. Well, he's a pro. You know,
pro 10-man guy. Yeah, that's right.
He's played pro in 7-man. He's played
NXL.
He's got it.
Yeah, I got my shit.
He's got his patches. Yeah. We appreciate you so much, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And we'll make sure to get you that link. And like I said, dude, this is going to have to be a regular thing. The way you break things down and how honest you are with all the listeners and us is we're appreciative of it for sure. And I know a lot of people get tons of benefit from it, man. You're fucking just awesome. Outstanding.
Well, I appreciate you guys just as much, man. It's definitely, you know, obviously an avid listener. And I think that you guys are doing something that is very much needed, you know, by this sport. You know, I really do. So I can't commend you guys for taking the reins and doing it because it's needed. these conversations need to happen. We need to, continue to, PB Nation, for it is what it is. It's dead. And I think those conversations, we went from everyone was able to have conversations there and get their news to where like the next news sites were like just meme troll accounts. So it's just like there needs to be, there needs to
Shout
be.
out to the paintball troll.
Oh, man, he's been getting me good lately, but
he always gets me, dude. He always gets me, dude. So this,
you guys have it gets you, bro. You just won the tournament. He's getting you with like you won, dude. Okay, so it's a little bit different.
Last year it wasn't as much. I was in a Mustang singing Britney Spears songs.
Well, that's appropriate. I'm over here getting bagged,
getting murdered by Rainey.
Well, that's appropriate too, huh?
Yeah. Okay, I see how it goes now. Things are becoming evidently clear, man.
Should I sing again? I can see
not
clearly now.
Not gonna save you.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a good one. Fantastic, guys. I'll see you guys soon, man.
All right. Shout out. Peace.
All right, PTG fam, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, if you would like to, we would so appreciate it. You can support the show at ptgpaintball.com. Click the Patreon link and become a supporter. It will give you immediate access to the Discord, the world's greatest Discord, paintball's greatest Discord, the #1 Discord in all of the land, where you can connect with pro players, with Tyler and myself, have access to tons of cool giveaways and cool things, events, all sorts of stuff. Everything's in there. Don't miss out. ptgpaintball.com. Click the Patreon link, sign up in any capacity, and get instant access. This is friggin' dope. Our website is brought to you by Rusty Glaze at Constant Pursuit. If you guys need a website, Rusty is your guy. ConstantPursuit.com. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, we will see you very soon.